Good evening, guys. Welcome
Hi,
to
everybody.
the stream. And I have Shannon on the panel for a change. For the first time, actually.
Yeah.
So that is nice. Always.
Yeah, it is.
I need to check so my YouTube side doesn't mess things up for me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I muted it.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, but I muted it now, so. Hey, Nick Miller, good to see you. Hey, Prepper for the Ages, good to see you.
Hi, guys.
7 in the house already. That's
cool.
Fast. Hey, Huga. Yep. I hope I don't miss any. And no. Kaylin Strain, good to see you, ma'am.
It's definitely different being on this side of the screen instead of being down in the chat.
Yeah, it's it feels odd, especially when you're not used to it.
Yeah. Because I'm just used to talking to my camera, not anybody else.
Yeah, that feels odd.
Yes, it does.
It's two whole different feelings.
Yeah.
But you get used to it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to get used to it if I pop into anybody else's live stream.
Yeah. Hey, PV, good to see you, brother. And PV, you know the drill. I know you want to join me up here, so I pinned the StreamYard link in the top of the chat, so you know the drill, PV. Hey, Vision Preparedness, good to see you, brother. Hey, Vision, if you want to join, feel free to click the StreamYard link in the top of the chat and join me up here, buddy.
Hey, McBean. What up?
Hey, McBean. Good to see you. Yeah, he's a good guy, McBean. PV says, give me a sec. No worries. Yep, that's PV in a nutshell.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a good guy, PV.
Vision's out driving.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, that's a good point. You should never drive and be up on a panel. That will be
that's a little distracting.
Too much of a distraction.
Yeah.
No. Hey, McBean, good to see you, brother.
Hi, McBean.
Hey, hello, everybody. How we doing?
Good.
We are doing good.
So I was getting ready to list my house and add to indoor pool, or otherwise known as flooded basement.
Oh, geez.
Oh, geez.
So
hey, BB, good to see you, brother.
Hello.
So I had a foot of water in the basement this morning.
Jeez.
So I had to go down there and punch the sump pump and bring it back to life. Oh, well.
Oh, man, that sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just forgot to check it.
All my sump pumps are turned off right now because it's like we get too much water and they like to short out when we have a lot of water.
Well, we had a lot of water this morning. Yeah,
you guys have the not hurricanes, but tornadoes and such.
Yep. Need a basement out here.
Oh, yeah.
Got a big old carpet beat coming out here.
Oh, boy.
Squirrel in the wood.
Jeez.
He's dead.
Hi, Vision.
What do we use these for? Take a little badminton rackets, and they make great bee swatters.
Oh, yeah.
Get them at the dollar store.
Preparedness veteran.
Hello, I'm just
How are we doing? Vision for
spilled some,
Fairness.
I just spilled some coffee, so I'm just mopping it up.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
You know, I'm emotionally recovering from this local disaster.
Yeah,
I might
that
have to go get
PV's
myself
personal
another
business.
cup of coffee.
Hope we don't get any performances like last week, Shadow.
Well, but PV, I may change that. So subscribers only. You need to be subscribed for 5 minutes to prevent that.
All right, to join the to watch or to join the stream, or
It is for the stream. That is the only way you can change it. So
yeah, good move, good move.
so you can skip anyone. You have different choices. Anyone. That's basically all can do it.
Right.
Type messages and things. But if
Yeah,
you
but that's
choose
the best,
subscribe,
yeah.
if you choose the subscriber, you can set it for how long they need to be subscribed to your channel before they can type any messages in the chat.
Right.
So
It's a good way to keep trolls at bay.
yeah, so I had set it to 5 minutes. I think that would be enough.
Yeah, give it a show. You know, it's an extra measure in place that wasn't there before. So yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Thor.
Haven Farm, how you doing?
Hey, Thor.
Hey,
Good to see you,
Caitlin
brother.
Strain. Prayers to you and your family in the path of those tornadoes. Please stay safe out there, okay? Love y'all.
Yeah. Iowa has a tendency to get hit really hard with those tornadoes.
We get them out here too. It's just part of the Midwest and Tornado Alley, as they call it.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically
much
the
of a-
Gulf
Anyway.
Stream and the Arctic Stream hitting each other.
How much notice
Yeah.
do you normally get for a tornado? The warnings and stuff.
Out here, not much. I actually listen to it's a broadcast coming out of Dwight, Illinois. It's the federal weather station on my ham radio, and I usually get the most accurate warnings from them.
Right. So
So,
yeah,
I mean-
good. So is there a tornado season? Is there?
Yeah, generally between I would say March and September.
Right.
That you can get favorable conditions. What it is, you get the cold Arctic air coming down, you get the Gulf Stream coming in and hitting it at the same time. It's just a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Hey, Uncle
If
Al,
you have
good
a
to see you,
temperature
brother.
swing you get a temperature swing of about 10, 15 degrees, you know there's going to be some severe storms.
Yeah. That's the thing with a minute. It's I mean, even people can start to start to worry some people because it's unpredictable, and if someone's lost access to any sort of comms and that, and you know, it can spring up at a moment's notice in some places. So yeah. Oh, Uncle Al.
I've been through about 4 of them. I think I drove through one night.
Right.
Just, there was 3 branches flying over the road above me and that, and it was too dark to see where it was, so I just stepped on the gas and hoped for the best.
Yeah. Thing is that these things, you know, it's so destructive. It's just completely wipe you out, and you know, it's happened so many times in the past as well. It's horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen the floods in Iowa because I went down and helped with a church group. And I stepped on a rusty nail, so I had to go get a tetanus shot. Did not like that at all.
Right. Yeah, you got to watch it, and I mean,
Nothing like
yeah.
a nail coming up through the foot to wake
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
up.
that was not fun at all. I did not like the shot, but I got to sit for the rest of the trip because my foot was not liking me.
right. And then Caroline says, "Hey, half of one town, Linden,
Yeah.
Iowa, got flattened last night."
Pretty bad.
Dang. Well, prayers
It was pretty bad
for
up there.
everybody in Iowa and in that path of that storm.
Yeah,
May
I
God
wouldn't
bless
have-
you and keep you safe, folks.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I'll have
agree.
to have a
Amen
quick,
to that.
look at that.
By the
We got
way,
heavy rains
guys,
here, but we didn't get any tornadoes. But we had one of my coworkers, a big tree uprooted and fell on their house. No one got
Oof.
hurt, but but the house is not in good shape.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not
wasn't a
good.
small tree. It was
Hey, Vanessa,
150-year-old
good to
tree.
see you, man.
Vanessa.
Howdy, Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
By the way, guys, today's topic, the mental adjustment to a Shtf scenario. That's a
Yeah,
good topic, actually.
Yes, it is. Because I know around here, not too many people are they're not prepared at all. Even when I'm talking to the folks at my job, nobody wants to be prepared for this. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you folks. It's either be prepared or you're screwed.
I was
Yeah.
I
listening.
agree with that.
I was listening to that one older comedian. I can't remember his name. I think his last name's White, but and he was talking about he's been through a few hurricanes, and it was coming through the Keys, and everybody evacuated except for one guy who tied himself to a tree because he said he was 53 years old, in great shape, and he wasn't worried about a strong wind. And the guy goes, "Well, it's not that the wind is blowing; it's what the wind is blowing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What shape you're in?
Was it like
you don't
Ron
understand.
White, McBean?
Yes, yeah, that was
I
him.
think that.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Then he's a funny
that was
dude.
funny. Yeah, it's not the
Of
wind that
course,
kills you.
it's Ron White.
It's that 2x4 that's traveling at 150 miles an hour that sits there and hits you is what kills you.
Yep.
It's the debris. It's not the wind.
Yeah.
I
When
think
lived
that
in
for
Florida,
most people, it can be pretty difficult for most people around the globe to adjust mentally to a situation like that, because you need to adapt to the situation, and everybody adapts. Some adapt pretty fast, and some it takes longer time for them to adapt to this new situation. So that can be a bit confusing to most people.
Oh yeah.
It's a bit of a difficult subject because you're bordering on sort of psychological aspects of it. There's a lot of people out there who are, got all the measures in place to cope with disaster, crime, unsuspected events. But until mental preparedness is a bit of a difficult one because, I've seen people who have been, in all aspects of the game up there and prepared and all this sort of stuff and trained. But until you actually experience, or until it actually comes to the day of the races, you don't know really how you're going to act, react, or how it's going to affect you afterwards, you see. And the difficult part of it is when you're talking about this sort of thing is when it encroaches onto the sort of the PTSD side of it. And, I know a lot of people out there, some people might be listening now who have got PTSD. Unless you have experienced what a person experiences, no one knows what people think in that. You can't second guess what's going inside someone's head. And when it comes to the PTSD side of it, it's very difficult because it's a non-visual injury, really. And
you
you've
don't
got
know what's going on with people's personal lives and that, so you shouldn't be judgmental.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean,
Kaylin has a point here, especially those who are already mentally stressed from other parts of their lives.
Yeah, I was just about to say, everyone's got their own problems in life, and you just have to roll along with it and deal with it.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah.
It's the big life-changing events, whether you're seeing it, you're hearing it, or whatever, that can really have knock-on effects afterwards. I suppose you can mitigate against it to some extent,
right?
But when some people go over the tilt point, go over the edge, then it requires a bit more than, deal with it sort of thing. And it requires a bit more speciality. Go on.
Especially if they have in that. Sometimes I know I just removed myself from a situation just to keep from going there. And I really don't suffer from that, but I know I have that ability. So when I feel a situation is potentially going to go south, I leave. You know, I mean, it's I always tell people the best self-defense is avoidance if you can possibly do it.
Yeah.
And basically, because I don't want to go to that. You know,
I mean, you can do, you know, there are measures in place, like I said, that people can do, but when it actually comes down to it, it's all about, you know, forcibly implementing those things and thereafter. So, you know, beforehand, I like to think of it as something, you know, like mental inoculation.
That's cool, Caitlin. What kind of power station was it? Because my husband and I got our solar panels up. We have 4 panels up. So this summer, my big TV will be going on my solar power, and we're going to save some money on that so it's not in our actual power bill.
there you go.
Sounds like a solar generator.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them.
All right. Yeah.
Caleb,
Plus, I have 2 gas-powered ones. Oh, that's awesome, Caitlin. And Opus 600 is good.
Yeah, I heard about them too. They seem to be a very high quality power stations.
I've got 3 Duracell solar generators, but they stopped making them. And actually, it was the solar generator let me know that there was something wrong in the basement because it was beeping. And that caused me to open the basement door. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. I had water up to my first step.
Uh-huh.
That's definitely a lot of solar panels, Vanessa. That's awesome. 50 of them.
Wow.
That's a lot of solar panels.
Yeah, I think the power company's probably paying you.
Yeah, they probably
because
are.
you have to sell some of the electricity
Back to the power company. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know they probably don't give you a rate, but
Yeah.
in this day and age, well, that's like I did my taxes, and you know the wife asked, "Well, how did we do it?" So we made a lot more money than we did last year, and she goes, "Where did it go?" Well, it went to Bidenomics. I said the average family. Well, the average family spent almost $12,000 more for food and gas.
Oh wow,
last year.
Vanessa, that's 50 by 280 watts per hour. Jeez.
So I said, number one, we spent an extra 12 grand just maintaining our level of life, and then we also went up into a higher tax bracket. So even though I made considerably more money, I didn't.
Yeah.
So we'll see what craziness happens in November. I'm sure it'll be crazy. Not looking forward to it.
That's if that it'll just be interesting if something does happen by June or July, because that's what I've been hearing, but I don't know if it's the truth or not.
No, I think it'll be November. I mean, right now they're distracted with the Palestine thing, whatever the hell that's supposed to be about. You know?
Yeah.
And it's about distractions.
Oh wow, Caitlin.
You know, basically,
dang, that is a lot of watts for each of the panels.
I'm just taking care of our needs. Wow, 280 watts per
panel.
That's huge.
Dang.
Yeah. Don't touch both wires at the same time. Just saying.
Oh yeah, my neighbor's got them up on his roof, and it's like.
Yeah, those party conventions are always.
Yeah. Plus, my neighbor has one of those electric trucks. So it's fun watching that little blue light on his truck when he plugs it in. So.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the big thing that they think it's going to be.
Yeah. Our grid cannot handle a lot of the electric cars and whatnot that they want us to have.
Well, the semis will be over the road limit anyway, just by the 2 batteries they need.
Yeah,
Batteries are
true.
8,000 pounds each. 16,000 pounds of batteries. What are they going to haul?
Yeah. Not very far and not very much.
Back to topic, I guess.
Yeah, 50
Yep.
solar panels. You said.
Yeah.
I
So
had wild turkeys out here the other day.
you had what? Sorry.
Wild turkeys cutting through my field the other day.
Cool.
No, right. Did you get any?
They're out of season right now.
Uh,
And I want them to get to be bigger numbers before I harvest any of them.
I've been seeing a lot of Canadian geese, so.
Oh God, they're everywhere. Just go to a local golf course.
Yeah.
I watched a coyote come out and get one on the golf course about a decade ago. To come out and grab that goose and dragged it back out in the woods. I'm like, well, that's going to be one fat coyote. I was kind of surprised. I didn't know it could take a goose on.
Yeah. You never know.
Oh, it did. And we got a lot of coyotes out here. I mean, I can call up to about 3 packs during the night.
Dang.
I've had a guy out here twice to professionally hunt them, but I keep telling him he needs to bring a shotgun because every time he hits that predator caller, they almost run him over. And his rifle's scoped for 100 meters, and they're 30 feet from him. He keeps missing.
Yeah, my parents up in Strawberry, Arizona, they have a lot of elk that go through their yard. My mom has had to put up so many fences around her gardens and her flowers to keep the elk out of them.
That's a hard one.
And it's like, well, at least Mom and Dad, you'll be fed when shit hits the fan. You can kill one elk every so often.
Do you know how fast the wildlife would disappear in that scenario?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Very
I've
fast.
seen that small town. Yeah. It would definitely.
well, right now, less than 1% of the nation hunts.
Yeah.
Shit hits the fan. Now you've got 30-40% of them hunting. The game's going to be gone within weeks.
Yeah. And I'm just glad I got them like the edible wild plants for their region. So it's like my nieces and nephews are studying that. So it's like that's a good thing instead of studying some of the crap that the schools are giving these kids. Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
It is. Once they get married and start having kids and have a house and have a car payment and that, they're going to realize just what an idiot they were. They're called useful idiots. There's a book. There's a sci-fi book written by Roger Zanley, and it's a fantasy world. But one thing that rang true is the character goes into different dimensions, and they go and they recruit this army, and he describes the army basically the mentality of a 17 to 19-year-old school kid. He says, no insult, but you kids at that age are so easy for bastards like us to use you. And I said, boy, not a true that was ever made.
Yep. Yeah, my husband and I, we graduated in 1994. We got married in 98 after he went to college. I didn't. I just started the workforce after a small thing of college. Didn't like college, so it's like, I'll go and join the workforce. Been in the workforce since 95.
I've been working since I was 11 years old.
Dang, dude.
Went to service, came out of service, went to college, met my wife, got married in 92, 3 kids later, and I was like, boom. Like, what happened? How'd we get here? I mean, we're going on 32 years of marriage. I can't believe it's been 32 years already.
I've done 26, McBean, so it's definitely different.
A lot. Well, just the way the world's changed, too.
Yeah. And I'm coming up on my 50th birthday.
Oh, you're still a kid.
My family, Yeah, well, my family is coming for my birthday, and it's like I'm hoping nothing happens while they're here, because it's like, where am I going to put everybody? Because I don't have enough
Tents.
space.
Tents.
And that's my parents and 6 siblings with their kids and their husbands and wives.
You're gonna have to rent a motel out.
At least I got one close enough.
There you go. It's a nice day today. It's windy, but it's going to be about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I think
Yeah.
that's probably right around 30, 31 degrees Celsius, somewhere abouts. I don't know what the exact conversion is. It's a nice summer day.
But anyway, back to the topic.
What was the topic, by the way?
The mental adjustment to SHTF scenario. And Vanessa says, what traumas you have been through helps one better handle that which comes in the future. Preparation, preservance, knowledge, and skills.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have the mental game first.
Yeah, because like when I broke my tibia bone before COVID, we had a lot of our preps already, so we didn't have to go too much grocery shopping. We had to do a little bit of it, but it was not fun for me because I had to hobble into the grocery store, find one of those little cart things that I could drive, and it was not fun wearing skirts all during the winter season because that's dang cold. But I couldn't get in the pants at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, we were well stocked, so basically it was just once a week to go get like milk and eggs and things like that. But everything else we had plenty of.
Yep. Same here with the toilet paper and everything. It's like people did not understand that they should have been stocked up instead of freaking out and being like, "Where's all the toilet paper? Where are the paper towels?"
I had to give a coworker a 4-pack of toilet paper because he ran out and there was none to buy, and he had 8 people living in his house.
Oh, dang.
He's like, well, how much you want for it? And I said, listen, just replace it when it comes back around. I ain't charging you for it. Just I don't want your kids out there in the lawn wiping their butt, you know?
Yeah.
I was thinking on this sentence Huga says here. I have been doing research and working on starting our MEG. It has become clear that the more we're prepared, the less we have to deal with. So many personalities and individual issues on top of everything. But I was thinking, if you are have a MEG group, and if something go definitely south, you can adjust easier on a mental level if you're in a group than if you're by yourself, or if it's only you and your wife.
That's funny, Vanessa. That's definitely funny.
I have a lot of people that I know. They will go, well, if it's a fan, I know where I'm heading. I said, well, it's not to my place. They're like, well, what do you mean? I said, you got nothing to bring to the table. All right. Now, I do have about 3 other families that are, definitely part of the MAG group because they have things to bring to the table. They have resources. They have the pew-pews. They have the food. They have the fuel. They have the skills. You know, and I have I'm out in the country and they're in the city. So, there's about 3 families that I have invited saying, yes, definitely come out here. But the other ones that are just don't do anything to prepare. No, I'm not your answer. Now I tell them this is what you need to prepare, but if they don't do it, I can't help you. You've had plenty of time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you don't realize that the potential of something going south is higher now than it has been in a while, you're not paying attention. Not saying it will, but the potential is there. And the worst case scenario is you're buying food at lesser price now than you will be in a couple of years because prices are going to continue to go up.
Hey, Guardian Fitness, good to see you, brother. And I know you want to join us here. you
Guardian
can.
Fitness, how we doing?
Yeah,
Hey.
I pinned the StreamYard link in the top of the chat as usual. So feel free if you want to join us.
Yeah, it's definitely funny when my husband's side of the family doesn't want to prep anything. They tell us that we're stupid of prepping for all this stuff that they think is never going to happen. And I'm thinking, I'm not helping you guys when you do that.
Even if it doesn't happen, it's still a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Worst case scenario. Oh my God, do we have vanilla extract? Yeah, I got it down here. Let me go get it for you. Oh, do we have flour? Yeah, I got plenty of it. I got it right here. I need rice for this. I have it. Well, do we have any Lipton instant soup for this? That here. I mean, I go downstairs. I don't have to run to the store. I don't have to spend the resources buying it at twice the price that I bought it 2-3 years ago. So
yeah,
I mean, even if everything goes fine, which is really, that's okay. It's still, it's food. You'll eat it. All right. It's energy. You'll use it. You know.
Yeah.
So
and
yeah.
Did you see that they're saying that now the whatever's it's in the milk now?
Yeah.
And it's like, that is so stupid. It's like, what the heck are they trying to do?
It's not so much the hierarchy, but everybody disagreements, and I think we've lost the ability to discuss things.
Yes,
like
we
people,
have.
It's okay that you have a different opinion than me.
Oh,
let's discuss it. Let's compare facts and that, and see if we can come to some consensus. But that's not what they want to do. And then a lot of times people will want to argue. Well, they'll do the research solely on what they want to prove right, and they won't look outside the box. They go in there with blinders. You know, I asked my son, and my son goes, "Well, you're just trying to get me to like this group." I said, "No, I'm trying to teach you to think independently. I'm trying to get you to ask questions. That's all I'm trying to do."
Welcome, Dugout Adventures. Good to see you.
But yeah, command and decision structures need to exist. Someone has to be in charge.
Oh yeah. Communication.
Committees will fail. Committees will fail.
Oh yeah.
Now it's okay to have one to get a general consensus, but somebody has to be. They make the decision, and of course, if that person starts making silly decisions, well, then the committee says, "Go, we got to get somebody else." But you know, in any family, you know, someone was the decision maker. Someone was a disciplinarian. You know, I mean, the wife and I did discuss things about how to handle the kids, but when it came down to who brought the iron rule down, that was me. All right. The wife gave me.
I understand that completely, McBean. My dad did a lot of the disciplining, even though he worked for the whole entire family, because my mom didn't work for a while. Then she did like Mary Kay at night when my dad was home. And then when we moved, because we moved before, like right before I went into 7th grade, we moved from a big house to a smaller house with a basement. And one of my sisters and I, we were down in the basement. And then, you know, because it was getting water in the basement, my parents had to have a bead dry system put in, so we had to sleep upstairs in the living room because my little sister didn't want to share her room.
We had my 2 brothers and I for the longest time slept in the same room. Yeah, my 3 sisters slept in their same room. You know, and there was only 3 bedrooms and there was 8 of us. You know, so we got along. We had to, you know, but
yeah, my brothers and sisters and I, we all got along, but when my sister and I were down in the basement, we were below my parents' bedroom, and one night my sister and I were arguing over a stupid chair on which side of the bedroom it should go on, hers or mine. My dad came down, barreling down the basement steps or stairs, and he told us both to get the hell out of the house. We did. Right. She's crying. I'm just laughing. She's like, "Why are you laughing?" I'm like, "They can't make us stay outside. That's against the rules." And my mom let us back in. She's like, just don't fight over the stupid chair anymore. Because I know your dad.
I could
He's gonna come back down here and look for both your butts.
I could hear
Yeah.
everything in the kids' bedrooms because of the heating duct. So
Oh,
and I could tell they were
geez.
starting to misbehave. I would show up and they're like, God, Dad knows everything.
Yeah.
I would just come down, I would just sit there, get to bed, get to sleep. Don't wake me up again. And that's all I had to do. You know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't have to whip their butt. I didn't have to throw them outside, but I did
No.
lock them outside one time because they kept going in and out of the house during the day. So I locked the door. So make up your mind.
I used to climb out of the windows. So
Hey, Nancy. Good to see you, Nancy.
But no, that's, but you're right. You got to learn how to communicate with people, and you got to learn how to disagree without screaming in somebody's face.
yeah, Vanessa, I stayed outside during the summer all the time. I was either in a tent or tending my campfire. I did not like to go inside unless it was raining really hard and thundering and lightning.
The house was so hot, we didn't have any air conditioning. I used to sleep outside all the time because it would be cooler outside. And we were on the farm, so I could do that. I had a dog that was a very good guard dog, so I didn't fear anything. And then ever since I was like 9, I had a .22 rifle with me, so I wasn't worried about anything either. But everybody, you guys have a wonderful day. I'm going to get ready to start the evening. We're going to go out and watch a country and Western music band. So we got both types of music.
Cool. That's awesome.
That sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah, you have fun, McBean.
Always. Everybody have a blessed day.
Yep.
No worries.
See if I remember how to get out of here.
Yep. Yep. Bye.
Bye. McBean is funny.
Yes, he is.
I think when it comes to any sort of mental preparedness, you can have the best and most advanced, fully prepped gear. If you can be completely sorted for every eventuality, but unless you got your mental state in place, unless you've got some sort of comprehension plan or mentally prepared yourself, then it can go bad really quickly, regardless of your preps.
Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting, Higgy. I would even be probably freaking out because I'm on my phone constantly, and that's like, that goes down and it'd be like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Other than go read a book, go outside, try doing laundry with a washboard and tub. So those will be interesting to see how these kids deal with that.
I think when it comes to a real scenario where people are going to start breaking down, you got to mentally cope with an event. You can at least mentally prepare yourself beforehand, mentally inoculate yourself, and you can do that through loads of people, units, and establishments out there do this. Pre-visualization training and pre-exposure training. So you know what to expect, what to see, what to smell, what to hear, and all this sort of stuff. You can do this through basic, training, visualization, taking snippets of visits into certain areas beforehand, watching videos about the likely scenarios that are going to hit you, and those sort of things. You'll build up a mental sort of picture as to what you'll see, what to expect, and all this sort of stuff. If you're just suddenly, and you got to bring on board all the family as well, including the kids. You may not do it in a visual sort of way as yourselves, but it's like it's a simple scenario: the sight of blood. A lot of people initially are scared of the sight of blood. They might have never seen an open fracture before or a deep laceration. Someone screaming, someone getting hurt, someone getting attacked.
Yeah.
But you can do low-level sort of pre-exposure training to combat that sort of thing. And then, as any doctor or nurse will tell you, over time, the sight of blood will get more common and stuff. So you're mentally making yourself more robust, you see.
Yeah. And I see that Vanessa said that, so do families not have non-electric methods of attention and games? I'm like, I know my sister Carrie and her 4 kids, all the kids do is they're on their Nintendo Switch, both the boys and the girls. And it's like, don't you guys go outside and play? Like when you go up to grandma and grandpa's, my parents, and they'll go outside because my parents don't own a TV up there at all. So, I mean, they're old. They don't really like watching TV anymore. So I would rather not have a TV and just be outside. I guess that's why our generation is different from this younger generation, where they have all this technology at their fingertips when we didn't even have the internet like we do today. We had the dial-up crap. If somebody wanted to make a phone call and they lifted it up and you were on the computer, you'd be screaming, "What the heck?"
I think it's good to have games, non-tech games and stuff like that, because it keeps people's minds occupied. And
like a deck of cards.
Exactly.
Yep.
And the more
I had several decks of cards and bingo games and all sorts of other stuff, which is cool. Yep, chess is good, even though I really don't play it that much.
Especially for the younger people, the kids and stuff like that, because it'll be a shock to them when they come across any sort of big event, disaster scenario, SHTF, whatever. And one of the coping mechanisms that you introduce to people is to keep the minds occupied, or give them a low-level job to do or a task to do to keep them occupied. There's nothing worse than someone sat there stewing over their own situation or just what's happened, with no sort of forward-thinking prospects of hope. So, like I said, especially kids and stuff like that, giving them something to do and keeping their minds occupied takes their minds off of the scenario or event a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not going to detract them so much. I think you've got to intervene quite early on, because it can.
Yeah.
I think the younger you are, I mean, I'm no psychologist, but I think the younger you are, it can have a much more far-reaching, longer-term effect on them, because they've got no comprehension of life skills. They've got no relation.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I have my 2 youngest niece and nephew. My brother Scott, he's my last sibling. They're under the age of 10, so it's definitely going to be a little harder for them. But they've got more family out in Arizona than I do here. It's just me and my husband, his mom, and one of his sisters. His other 2 sisters, one lives in Texas, and the other one lives in Ohio, I believe. But
hey, grumpy old guy, good to see you.
Hey, grumpy old guy.
Not
Hi,
much
Grumpy.
of a difference for me. I'll keep sitting on the porch yelling at people to get off my lawn. The only difference will be with or without the shotgun.
Yeah.
That's the grumpy old guy. He's awesome.
Yeah, we're talking.
Yeah, I've got 2 signs on my front. One sign on my front and one sign on my back. My front sign says, "If you can read this, you're in range." The back one says, "Due to the the increased price of ammo, do not expect a warning shot." So I think I'm prepared there. They ain't gonna come anywhere near my house with those signs. Hopefully.
We're talking about younger kids. I mean, Guardian says I believe that kids are more adaptable to SHF than adults who are set in their ways psychologically. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. Like I said, especially when it comes to some sort of mental aspects of it, because you just can't. You never know what's going on in someone's head. You never know how they're going to react. So all we can do is really put in place various measures in case, and you can look at previous things.
Yeah.
previous cases as to how other people have reacted and how other people have been treated and stuff like that. Well, I was talking about just now keeping younger kids occupied, but when it comes to adults, I think
I need to check.
you could treat an adult like with the same measures as a younger child if the adult isn't mentally prepared or hasn't had any sort of pre-exposure training.
Let's see.
Oh yeah.
I've seen this happen.
I need to check.
I've seen this happen myself, where you got grown men who have all of a sudden been thrust into a situation, and afterwards they've literally acted like kids, and you've literally have to tell them to, go and sweep that area over there, or sit down, have a rest, go and have a cigarette or whatever, or start, play a game or something like that, board game. I've seen it happen, and you really have to. In some people, you have to really take a grip of them and tell them what to do, or get them in sort of a crowded situation where they're amongst friends and stuff like this. It really is difficult, and if anyone out there doesn't know how to deal with a panic attack or anything like that, then learn or read about it, or speak to someone who does know how to deal with a panic attack, because panic attacks during SHTF will be a real thing, and it will be a real thing to someone you would never have thought would have had a panic attack. But you got to think of how these things sort of trigger initially. We're talking about big sort of life-changing events here. I think during any event, it can change so quickly. So 1 minute you're in a normal situation, you might be expecting a hurricane coming, or you've had a tornado warning, so this sort of event's going to happen. But being thrust from a normal situation straight into a completely destructive, completely kinetic, completely visually disturbing scenario, you've got to understand the comprehension of the event. I think that's key as well. Comprehending the event. Through seeing or hearing something completely out the ordinary. And your body will go, people's bodies out there, they'll go through responses which are sort of already known through a timeline. So adrenaline will start going, the blood will start pumping, blood pressure will start to rise, and you can do certain things to counter this, like, first of all, breathe. Take a deep breath in, hold it, breathe out slowly, keep breathing, trying to keep yourself focused. And as your adrenaline rises and this sort of stuff, that'll be a good thing in the short term, because adrenaline will increases attention, your perception becomes heightened, your brain becomes sort of more efficient in the short term. Yeah. But other people can, like I say, because we don't know who's going to react in a certain way, other people, it can have a completely opposite effect. It can impair some people. So, the flight response. And when all this settles down, everyone's got, I find, and I've done a lot of reading about this sort of thing, the more mental problem-solving skills someone has got, similar to sort of mental arithmetic, but the problem scenario, the better they will be at the immediate sort of a survival scenario. For instance, like escaping a fire in a plane, for instance. Some people will just sit there, wait to be told what to do. Some people will just act completely freakishly different. Other people will just immediately do the right decision. So it's the after effects which will be the key thing. Immediately, what decision people make will determine life or death. The after effects will be the longer sort of implications. It could last years for some people, and we've all seen and heard about PTSD effects and this sort of stuff.
I've seen so many people that they're on their phones. They're not watching what's going on around them. And it's like, people, get off your phones and watch around you, because anything could happen to you and you're not watching what you're doing.
Yeah, it's. I mean, a lot of people. I think it's how you deal with things. You know, after any sort of event, it could be something as quick as a break-in or a mugging, or something like this, or seeing someone being shot or attacked or this sort of stuff. Sort of seeing their pets or their family or their kids or their wife or whatever. Yeah, some people, they might even feel completely whole range of different sort of emotions. This is why it's so complex. Some people may feel real severe guilt because they're the only ones that have survived.
Yeah,
because they've climbed over the person who is just frozen. You know, they've made a decision they're going to get out that window. They've climbed over someone, and then they've felt guilty that the fact that they've climbed over someone to get out. You know, but at the end of the day, they're the ones alive, and the person is dead. And that sort of thing can play on people's mind. You see, the guilt trip. How do you deal with that? That's a real
yeah.
Real, I mean, a lot of people,
I know a girl that she lost her house because of a fire, and
right.
she lost her youngest because the poor kid was scared, and he went and hid in a closet, and the firefighters found him. They took him to the hospital, and the kid didn't make it.
Right.
And she blames God for all of that. And it's like, no, you should not blame God for that. It wasn't anybody's mistake. It's just that it's the way that that stuff happens. I think the kid saw the fire and was scared to tell anybody, and he hid. Yeah. And that's just sad. And that's like, I pray for that little boy all the time.
Well, it's it's out of your control, really. I mean, another thing people have got to deal with is grief. So
yeah,
you know, they've got to deal with the initial shock of the situation, and they've got to deal with the fact that they might have felt guilty because they've survived and others haven't, and then they've got to probably feel grief. And there's many stages of grief. I think there's about 5 or 6 stages of grief that are sort of categorized. But
yeah,
you know,
Vanessa, you're right. My husband has a veteran friend, and we don't know how he is because he's turned off everything and he's just disappeared off the face of the earth. Of course, he went for some type of back surgery, and we haven't heard from him at all if he made it through the surgery or not, because it's like, dude, we need to know if you're safe and fine. But he hasn't said anything. Nothing's on my husband's phone or anything that says I'm fine and I'm still alive. And that's what worries both my husband and I, because he's a good friend and he's also a war veteran.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's worse if you are on your own.
Yeah.
Personally, through past events and stuff like that, I find it better if, you know, it's better to be in numbers. You can all bounce off each other, sort of comfort each other, have a laugh with each other afterwards. And, you know, if you're on your own, that's it. It's you versus your mind, and your mind can be a real bad thing if you don't get a grip of it.
Yeah, Caitlin, the veteran's family doesn't even speak to him. So that's the sad part. They don't want any contact with him at all. And that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, too. It's like, y'all should be grateful that your father brought you into this life. And you should be helping care for him regardless of the stupid stuff that he's done.
Yeah, there's a lot of difficult situations out there. I
yes,
mean,
there is.
I think people have got to Well, I can only say the way I deal with things, really. You can't speak for other people. Like I said, people think and act in different ways. I like to look at, and this is how I've sort of spoken and got the family on my side of it, family and friends, that is, you got to make sense of the situation. You got to make sense of the events. I think the big thing to do for me is to rationalize what's happened and what could happen. So, okay, your house has been destroyed. Fine. You're still alive. You've got to rationalize what's happened. It's an accident.
Yep.
Accidents happen. We've got to make do and build back.
Hey, Guardian. Good to see
Guardian.
you.
How you doing? All right.
Hi, Guardian.
And you got to build back and come back better. But if you rationalize what's happened, you can then start to get the ball rolling to come to terms with what's happened. That's one of the first steps, I think. That's what I would do. Like I said, emotional resilience, that's a key thing. And some people just haven't got it at all. No matter, some people are very robust mentally. It's unbelievable how robust some people can be. Everyone's a survivor. We all know, we all got it in ourselves how to survive. We just don't know it yet. We just don't know it until it's happened to ourselves or our family as to how we're going to deal with it. But like I said, pre-training, mental inoculation. That's what it's all about. That's a big step into the sort of my ethos, is the way of dealing with things.
Vanessa, I will pray for you and your family, and I just hope that you'll find peace within the family if they ever come to their senses, okay? I love you all, and I'm going to get going, okay? I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
No worries. Yep.
See you later.
Karen.
Bye,
Thanks for
guys.
stopping by.
Okay.
Yep, you too, Shadow. Bye, guys.
See you later.
Hey, Boots.
Folks,
Good to see you.
Iowa. So how you doing, Guardian?
Yeah, doing well. It's quite an interesting topic. Hi to everybody in the chat and the panel. It's definitely something that people need to give a lot of thought to, of course. And there's so many different avenues when it comes to the psychological aspects of SHTF from scenarios, and how to just be like cool, calm, and collected type of thing, and emotional maturity. And I think that all of us, including myself, like it's something about life, right, where we've all got to kind of grow as well and mature as we get older, and certain things as well come into our lives and like challenge us, and then we've kind of got to use them to advance through our life as well and become more improved versions of ourselves. We've also, with this topic specifically, one's got to look at like the rational and logical idea of what it really entails when things get a bit rough. And it doesn't only always really pertain to SHTF either. It crosses so many different boundaries when it comes to how a person needs to be set in their kind of way when it comes to like being adaptable. And that's what the conversation earlier was alluding to as well, is that some people have the ability to be adaptable, and some people believe that everything will still maintain to, and then it's extremely infuriating for myself personally when people believe that absolutely no way could things turn sour, and that they don't need to be pragmatic about it, because I think that that's something that's lacking. And I don't mean to cast a negative shadow on it either, but I do think that it's something that is extremely detrimental for people. And if things had to happen right now, we're living in a society more and more that believes that they can be, that they can suck off the womb of society and the leadership within the government and political sphere. And I think that that's extremely dangerous because time and time again, they've proven that they cannot be trusted. But that's all I'll say about that for now.
Yeah, I think you the good little term you used there. Psychological maturity, was it? Something like that? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Right, so I'll give it a couple of examples, Shadow, of how to cope with the mental aspect after sort of any big event. Right, so in the army, we didn't used to get any mental post-op training or anything like that at all. And it only really started to come in around 1994, 95-ish, when you'd get people come off deployment and they'll go straight back to the unit, straight back into normality. You know, 1 minute you're getting bombed and shot at in Bosnia, Kosovo, for instance. 2 days later, you're back at home walking around Tesco. How do you deal with that? You know, and what they started to do, they started to adopt a series of measures to sort of mentally decompress someone. What they used to do is you come back off an op now, you go into a decompression phase, and it mentally allows you to wind down and decompress from a chaotic environment, life-threatening environment. You're faced with danger, etc., or that you've seen people injured and all this sort of stuff, or you've come close to being injured yourself. So what you'd get there, you'd go back to another country for, say, 4 or 5 days, and you'd go through a series of briefings and debriefings, shall I say. So it'd be a case of updates on to what's happened back at home in your home country. You get a psychological debrief, and you'd get access to various experts who will point you in the right direction for any help that anyone may need. And that sort of 5-day buffer zone is a big help, because it does, like I said, it's a good buffer zone. It allows you to slowly adapt and get to grips back to normality. And, you know, it does help, but it doesn't help enough for some people. So that's something to think about, you know, for people to comprehend, is the fact that if they do experience any sort of major disaster or come close to, you know, any traumatic event, really, we're now in the sort of the realms of sort of countering PTSD. You know, so you've got to almost do a decompression phase within your own sort of group. Like I said, I think the biggest words for me will be to rationalize what's happened and come to terms with it. Being emotionally resilient, that can be a greatest asset, really, I think. But it can only go so far. If you've lost complete hope of anything and the situation is really dire and you're in an ongoing situation, then you've got to, sometime you just got to say, you know, sod it, right? You've got to deal with it. Look at what you got to do. Go through a sort of mechanical process almost. Right, what we got to do, A to B to C to D, etc. Go through a set sequence of events to continuously get yourself out of that danger, and then you carry on to what you're doing. You know, in some instances, deal with it. That's all you can do. It's the decompression, the after effects, which can be the real sort of area where people start stewing on things. Like I said, I think it's good to be in numbers, to have people, like-minded people around you, people who've gone through the same situation as you, so you can talk about things, thrash things out, not making any rash decisions. It's the worst thing, you know. The worst thing you can do, I think, is be put amongst someone who hasn't experienced the same thing as you, and they just can't comprehend what you've just gone through. You see, you know, it'll be all right. You know, it was only, it was only a 5-minute event, or it was only that, or only this. You can recover. It's not as simple as that. It's, you know, it can be a deep mental imprint that will never go away. So, yeah, time is a good healer. You know, I've heard people scream until they've stopped screaming. and they've gone silent, and then you know they've died, sort of thing. And that sort of thing never sort of leaves you, but you learn to deal with it. You learn to rationalize it.
You learn to handle it.
Yeah, exactly. So being amongst friends and like-minded people who've experienced it, I think that helps a lot. The danger is the long-term mental sort of scarring and the PTSD side of it, which some people can shake off quite quickly. It doesn't bother some people. For other people, it stays with them forever, and it really does, affect them badly. Sweats, nightmares, flashbacks, etc., etc. But yeah, some of these things, it's a slow event. You can see the event building up, and some of them, it's like jumping off a cliff. It's a flashpoint event. For instance, so we know this year is a critical year. There's a lot of things coming to head this year. Various elections, key points, demonstrations, etc., etc. It almost feels to me like at the moment we're on the verge of a massive collapse situation. So I'd sort of describe that as a slow sort of, you can see the event coming. Right, so how do you deal with it? It's an emotional thing. A lot of people can see it happening. A lot of people know it's happening and they can see it coming. So what do they do? Some people ignore it and wait for it to happen. Some people just don't think it's going to happen. And that can be the big bad thing, because like I indicated earlier, a switch from a normalization to a chaotic scenario, a completely polarized event, would be really it's harder to comprehend. Lucas says, "Can I be your Captain Kirk, PV your Doctor, and Guardian Chekhov?"
Don't see anyone here good for Spock.
A Spock, yeah. Well, we need a Spock and a Uhura.
Yeah.
A couple of extras as well, because every time you see an extra, someone you've never seen before in Star Trek, they're the ones going to die. You should put the Star Trek background on the like a good Scotty. You can't change the laws of physics. She can't go any faster, Captain. So yeah, I think being in various danger situations, I can guarantee you a really good way of handling things is through humour. And I think the British Army are famous for having a laugh, dark humour, and this sort of stuff. I mean, even I'll give you another example. I used to work on the ambulances during the ambulance strike for 3 months, and people were starting to give it a rush. She's got, Captain. We need more power. The dilithium crystals just can't handle it. Anyway, so yeah, during the ambulance strike, for instance, a lot of people were getting quite distraught and distressed because that some of the call outs they were getting were kids that have that died during their sort of, they couldn't revive them and this sort of stuff. But the dark humor came out, and we used to have something called a death board. So there's a black board in the corner. Every time you picked up a dead person or it died in your care, you put a little cross on the blackboard, sort of thing. And that was a sort of low level key thing of people handling it. A bit of humor coming into the equation. And like I say, unless you've got to make light of certain situations, because if you're serious all the time, it's I don't think it's good for you, not at all. But it's got to be within reason. You can't just be the Joker all the time. It's just you get people's backs up, Yeah, a lot of people when they're approaching sort of a dangerous situation or some situation where they haven't experienced before, they'll start to go out of character. Humor is another one. They'll start, putting on sort of a funny, an out of character laugh and telling, really crap jokes and stuff like that. Like, for instance, if anyone's been rock climbing, for instance, for the first time in a group, they'll see other people sort of laughing and joking, just trying to make light of the situation, trying to pretend they're not scared and this sort of stuff. But likewise, if we use another analogy of parachuting, for instance, parachuting, your first parachute jump, you're always a bit nervous as to what's going to happen. Am I going to die parachuting? My parachute going to open? This sort of stuff. Your third, fourth, fifth, your 10th parachute jump, you're not bothered. You're looking forward to it. You come out, oh yeah, it's going to be a good experience. It's going to be a good rush. I'm looking forward to getting out there, feeling the wind in my hair and this sort of stuff. But you take a break from that parachute, that your 20th jump, say 3 or 4 months' time, it's almost being knocked back to your first jump again. You become a bit more apprehensive. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Pre-exposure to events is a good thing. If you can continually train yourself and know what to expect, that's a massive leap forward as to being mentally prepared. But if seeing someone die is worse than seeing a dead body. And some things will never leave you. You've just got to, I don't know. I think different from other people. I would say you just got to deal with it, but it's sort of the wrong answer, I think. Yeah.
Well, for you, it might work well. It's just to deal with it, but for someone else, it's might not that easy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying I'll deal with things easy.
No.
It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Like I said, people don't know until it happens. That's why I think comprehension, rationalizing what's happened, and coming to terms with it is key.
So it's also that. So when a person looks at these type of scenarios, right, and the way to kind of, I always look at the current way of our lifestyles compared to a true SHTF type scenario, right? Whether that be like famine, war, AR destroying like our technology, like there's a whole bunch of different ways. The solar flare thing as well coming up within the next 2 years. We're looking at a whole bunch of things. The political thing that is mentioned. There are so many different ways where things could potentially just go like upside down. But I truly believe that hoping for the best and having that mentality to always just believe that things will turn out for the better. Of course, people that are also family oriented have the same sentiment too. Like for myself, I just want things to maintain, in a good decorum as well, and society to flourish in as best ways possible, and for the advent of technologies at the moment to assist our society and for us to really all get to a new level of I firmly believe of human adaptation to the earth and living in unity with the earth as well. And I don't mean to go down that road too much, because I know when people hear things like that, they're like, they dig their heels in. But I'm being serious. I think that there's a lot of things, fortunately, with its advancements as well that we've got at the moment, that could look at our lives in a lot more sustainable way for the planet. And I really believe that. But I think that the mentality, the prime point that I'm trying to make is that with the mentality that people have at the moment, if things do kind of get a bit shaky and if things fall out of place, it is most unfortunate that people do start to really panic a lot, and that completely absolutely distracts them from the things that could potentially save their lives. And in most SHTF type scenarios as well, it'll increase in somebody's anxiety and a reduced level of alertness as well, of cognitive alertness, means that essentially what will happen is that people make really bad mistakes, and those mistakes can absolutely jeopardize their lives. So the mental adjustment, the whole mental adjustment part, and the psychology to this whole thing is really where it gets me like excited about it, because I think that it is something that is such a good topic to look at and to really understand how a person is able to. And I think that desensitization is obviously plays a really key role and an important role here when people look at what they've been through their lives and their hardships. And not only that, but people really, you said it earlier, Preparedness Veteran, absolutely correct. People would surprise themselves if they allow them to as well. The human beings ourselves are extremely capable of adapting where necessary as well. But at the same time, we should head into any situation like that with great caution and not overestimate our own capabilities. And I say that while being somebody that absolutely loves the whole sphere of outdoors, and I think that the change wouldn't be as drastic as people think to some degree. The person needs to practice at the moment, and I will get off the, I'll stop here in a moment to allow for you guys to feed your thoughts as well. But I think that the person really needs to understand that the more that we immerse ourselves with the ideology that things could potentially go wrong, and realize that if they do go wrong, then we just need to remain calm and walk into, I'll stop everything I'm saying here if I can find this. And I've shown this to you all before, but so go placidly amid the haste, right? And it's part of Desiderata, and it's so go placidly amid the haste. Now that this specific quotation comes from Desiderata, where it speaks about understanding that if things do go upside down, it's the best thing that we can all possibly do. And I'll end with this, is just maintaining like a calm decorum and realizing that in a SHTF scenario, your mentality is absolutely the thing that'll keep you from, sinking or swimming. You have to have a positive mindset at all times. And even at the moment as well, I'm doing a lot of like soul searching, and that's what I started with as well. We're trying to, in this life, we're all trying to improve. But I'll stop there and say that I wish you all listening right now have the opportunity to grow and to mature in any way that we can, and to always evolve as people. And I think that we should never stop learning and growing. It's part of the human journey, isn't it? So that's all I have to say about that, yeah.
We learn as long as we live.
Yeah, mindset, definitely. Yeah, learn to adapt, definitely the key. And as someone put there, can you remember the people's reactions when the toilet paper scenario kicked off with COVID?
Yeah, I remember that. Oh man, people went crazy.
Yeah, one of the first stages, panic, a bit of an insecurity thing there. When, like I said, you can be as prepared as possible. You can be prepared up to the eyeballs, but the mental aspect plays a huge role. It will control your actions.
Because nothing else matters. Absolutely nothing else matters if you don't have that in key, right?
Yeah.
Like if that falls aside, you have nothing. And the way to actually increase that is by having new experiences mentally as well, by learning, by interacting with people the way that we are here, sharing thoughts, having conversations, not just mindlessly like, consuming content on Netflix or something like that. Engage with people, like use your mind, like, be creative when it comes to things like that. And a person is definitely capable of keeping their mental side of things strong. Like I could go off so heavily about that specifically, like what it's like I've never shared really what the experience is like here locally for me, like, and what you have to endure to be like, to try and make it here, where I'm from, and have like a calm mentality, even though things sometimes completely feel like they're all going to rock, and I've got to maintain like a good decorum at all times. And even though things are completely crazy at times here as well, like really it's bad, the situation. And if things get rough here, they will get really, really rough. And that's one of those things. And also, not that, but like even through things that are rough, a person's got to maintain that level of, a good mentality and try and be positive at all times. That really is what matters.
Yeah.
And I think in the prepper community in general, most of them think of food, water, and gear and things like that to be prepared. Okay, I don't say anything about that, but I think they forget the mental aspect of it, how to adjust, and they forget about that.
Yeah. Pre-exposure, pre-training. If you live next to an earthquake or tornado zone, earthquake zone or whatever, go and see the after effects of a tornado or an earthquake firsthand to actually experience the level of destruction, the smells, the emotions that are raw in the air and stuff like that. And that will be a good sort of opportunity for training. I mean, I've done previous many deployments in the army. I think third or fourth deployment it was. I can remember, and this is proof, many years of training, pre-training before a deployment, etc., etc. You think yourself you're ready for it. So I was walking along, and it's strange. I was walking along thinking that every step I took was going to be my last. It was just something. It was a weird feeling, and it was almost like I don't know. It's a bit of a dizzy feeling, but you weren't dizzy, and you were just heightened. And I was just waiting for it. It didn't happen, but it was just a strange sensation. And to compose yourself and to carry on and complete what you're doing, you've got to rationalize and become most emotionally resilient. And it might even get to the point where say, okay, you might get exposed to certain situations that much or that often, you become blasé to them. You think, okay, if it happens, it happens. So, so sue me, take me, if it happens, go for it. I'm ready for it. I'll just deal with the after effects. Yeah, it sounds a bit hard to say, but yeah, it might get to the point where you actually do that. Living in situations where you're constantly under threat is not good for you. I don't think it's real tense, cortisol filling sort of emotional build-up and sustainment. It's hard, and many people around the world they're living through it now, and all the time and stuff like that. We're sat here in a sanitary environment at the moment. I think people have got once something does happen, you then into the control and coping situation. Then how do you control it? How do you cope with it? How do you sort of break through the stagnation phase and get to some sort of recovery phase? Then I think personally you've got to prioritize things at hand, get things done, try not to don't stagnate. Stagnation is really bad. You start letting people stagnate and things playing on their minds. That is the worst thing to do. Be proactive, get things done, take small steps, get things done in small steps. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's the way you get there. Other people are important. Get talking to people. Don't be afraid to just let it loose. I think men are the worst because they tend to hide their emotions more than women, because it's a sign of weakness in many people to do that. I think
it is though. Like even if you do show vulnerability, the way that people will interact with you, because obviously being somebody that I must be honest, like I do have a high sense of my emotions and stuff as well. Like I can be an emotionally triggered person, and that's the thing that I'm trying to work on. As I stated earlier, we're all trying to go on this journey, right? And it's something where it is very like it comes in lots of different ways, because obviously it's a negative and a positive. There's pros and cons to everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's what we need is a PTSD counselor here, because no doubt that they've got a well, you got these sort of counsellors who would go work through a certain framework, I suppose.
I think that's exactly what we're doing for each other right here. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree with that.
Just, we can talk through. I'm trying to rationalize here, and talk about sort of the common sense things I would do and what I've seen, experienced. But no doubt there is some sort of formal framework people can do, and as part of someone's pre-training, they can probably go on a course or read up about it, which will probably be beneficial as well. I mean, I think like I said earlier, a small step for someone, for anyone in your group, will be to know how to deal with someone who's emotionally distressed, know how to deal with
Hey,
panic
Slippery
attacks.
Pickle, good to see you.
Hey, Slippery Pickle. PTSD, yep. PTSD, stress, all that sort of stuff. Stress management is a thing. I suppose you can practice it. Know your own sort of limits, your personal signs of stress. Your trigger points. And working with other people, you can get to know their sort of trigger points and their stress points as well. And when they see the trigger points in you, or you see it in them, they can sort of tell you or step in. I think one of the advantages of working in a group, if you pair up with someone, work as a buddy system, you can talk to each other. You can confine in one person in your group as well that you may be afraid to talk to openly to the rest of the group, and so on. Someone to confide in.
It's either that or a basketball on an island, right?
Like, yeah, exactly. Wilson. Yeah.
No, people need people. You need that social interaction, and I think that's why I love that movie. What it points to as well is that, like, even in that situation, he actually got through and he survived. By, it's just a movie, of course, but like, he got through that, and it's been like that a lot of times for people as well, where they've been able to lean on things like that.
Yeah, social creatures. Yeah, it's not good to be isolated on your own. I knew one guy. He was 86 years old, and I spoke to him a couple of times, and he said to me, I asked him how he was doing. He said, he goes, yeah, and we was talking about depression. And he said to me, he didn't know he was depressed until he went past a pub, looked through the window and saw other people laughing and joking. He said he didn't realize he was at that sort of level below sort of normality. And then he adapted. He got to know a couple of people and started going out a couple of times a week, and he picked him right up. So
that's an extremely sad image, though. Like, I mentally view like the person walking past the pub and seeing that, and how sad they probably felt at, like, if they were missing that. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course, that would be extremely sad.
Yeah, I mean, he used to sit at the end of his boat and just look at the trees and the hills and the sky and this sort of stuff. I used to make a point, every time I go past, give him a quick 5 minutes, talk to him, and then move on to do what I'm doing and stuff like that. And he appreciated that. So isolation is definitely, it's not good at all. And people can slip into the long slippery slope of not knowing they're going down that slope as well, not knowing they're going into sort of a depression spiral, if you like. Yeah, it's got to look out for each other, and really. One thing we used to do, we got told to do in training for deployments and stuff like that, was if anyone had just experienced any sort of stressful situation, not stressful, but any sort of real bad situation and stuff like that, one of the big indicators and one thing to do, which is a key, is to take them out of the environment straight away. take them out of the environment. You're taking them out of danger. You're taking them out of the triggering scenario around them, and you give them some. That's the key step. That's the first sort of big key step to do. Get out of that environment. Make things so much easier. Second thing to do on the immediate sort of side of it was to give them some sort of menial job to do, just to stop them stagnating, basically, keep their mind ticking over with something which doesn't involve a lot of thinking, whatever it might be. It might be pan bash, washing up, or just general sweeping or cleaning and stuff like this. It detracts from people stewing over things. But a good precursor to stopping people sort of slipping over the edge, being well prepared, reducing your concerns and stuff like that, is make sure you are well prepared, create a good plan, develop a good disaster plan for yourself, prepare a good comprehensive emergency supply kit, a good plan for when things do go wrong. Because what that does as well, it gives you confidence that you're ready to deal with something, and it takes you a level above the fact that you weren't prepared. It's like the toilet paper scenario in COVID. All those people who are just immediately panicked. Panic, I'd suggest, it would be one of the first stages people go through. They all rushed out because they weren't prepared enough. And all the preppers were sat back thinking, this is the sort of thing we're expecting, and you're one notch ahead and one rung up the ladder, I suppose.
So, and that's the whole misconception, was that toilet paper thing. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. And then also just understanding your basic necessities, not only your short-term basic necessities like daily and weekly, but on a monthly basis and on a bi-monthly basis, and goes over to a point in what you've used in a year in emergency. That's what you should track over an entire year, what you end up using. And then you got to think of outside of a year, what if this happened, what if that happened, try and cover as many bases as you can. So there's a comment here that I wanted to bring up quickly. And so fear, what I was, pertains to what I was speaking about earlier as well, where I said that fear is like how bad fear can be for a person. And fear is absolutely the mind killer. If you know that quote, right? It really is. Fear will absolutely, it'll stop you in your tracks and make you absolutely useless. It'll control you to the point where you can absolutely do nothing for yourself. And people get scared, frozen stiff from situations that they're not used to. So I've seen it a lot of times. So Slippery Pickle brings up here, I once learned many years ago that you can only control the things you can, and there is no reason to stress over events beyond your control. Often the fear is worse than the actual outcome. So
Yeah.
that is so well said. I wish that in hard times, I really wish that you guys hold on to that specifically, because stress, human beings are also prone to stress. It's one of the measurements of, the extent of our own survivability. And it's one of the measurements of our own capability to handle things is a stress factor, because stress can be a good thing. It can lead to adrenaline, which can help you out in situations. But honestly, the stress that we have is absolutely worthless. Stressing over things. So the prayer of serenity, right? God grant me to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know how, and the wisdom to know the difference. I forgot the whole thing. But you guys know what that basically comes down to, knowing the difference between the things that we can change and the things that we can't. Realizing that if we don't have control over things, and that it's okay. That sometimes when things go completely haywire, that it'll be okay, and that you kind of just got to, push on. And that's where, and I'm going to read that comment one more time, and I really want you guys to remember that the concept of it, and not, you don't need to memorize the thing, but so Slippery Pickle mentioning, I once learned many years ago that you can only control the things that you can. right? It's exactly that there. And there is no reason to stress over events beyond your control, because there are things that you cannot control. Then what is the absolute point of like stressing about it in that way? And then it just leads to unhappiness and anxiety, and that's extremely bad for you, for your health as well. And in a time where you might be needing as much health and strength as you possibly can muster, you don't want to be wasting it on stupid, like stressful stuff that really you could just choose to not worry about it. And then often the fear is worse than the actual outcome. So I'm sorry to break apart that so much, but it's really well said. And then the fear is worse than the actual outcome is so true as well, because it's like we project these things. And how often do you think of something that's coming up and it's a really stressful thing, right? And then you can probably all think about this in your own lives as well, where like it'll come up as well, and then you'll be like really concerned about it. And then when it comes up and it's done, you'll forget.
CR, good to see you, brother.
Hey, bud. So you'll actually forget that there was ever something that you were that stressed about, or you'll just like, move past it mentally. You won't actually remember, hey, I was stressed for nothing. That won't happen, that mental process. So if you think about it, like that's what people will do. So I don't know, just try and have a good mental, a good mindset on everything. And these type of topics, the people who prefer to run from the idea of prepping, like those people, I do fear for their own like mental stability during times if things got really rough, because there are those people that absolutely think that what we talk about on a Saturday night here is an absolute waste of time. And it's true that they believe 100% that we are wasting our time, because why are we speaking about an eventuality which may not exist at all? And that's where I also, when I say that this is also entertaining, the way that we speak about this, because so for myself personally, I like SHTF type movies. I like the Walking Dead series. I like all of those things. I like those things because of my love for the outdoors, nature, and also realizing that things could turn upside down and seeing how they handle it in that sort of Hollywood style, right? But it's just these conversations as well, and having a Saturday night where I can jump on with a bunch of people, all of you guys listening to me right now for the most part, and like on the panel, and then we can, speak about things such as this. And what are we going to speak about if not cars and politics? Are we supposed to speak about like, fashion? Are we supposed to speak about the latest movies? Or what are we supposed to be speaking about? Have you seen the nonsense people speak about and waste their time? In my honest, if things had to kind of go P-tongue, right? If they had to turn upside down, and we've been like doing what we've been doing, it's much better so I'm going to close with this. It's better to, like, what's that whole saying? Somebody can correct me on this, please do. It's better to need something and not need it than want it. What's that whole thing again? Preparedness veteran, help me out here.
It's better to need it and not have it than have it and not need it, I think.
You see?
It's a bit...
I'm smart enough.
You get that wrong, actually.
That I can lean on somebody.
I got that wrong. It's better to have it and not need it. Need it and not have it.
I agree with that one.
That's perfect. So that's all that I'll climb off my soapbox now. I'm just saying that this whole conversation.
Well, actually, right. There actually is an old World War I song. Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag. And one of the lines in that, pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. One of the I see Shadow likes my singing there. ACR, by the way. One of the things in there is what's the use of worrying? It makes no difference at all. That was one of the lines in that song, which I just remembered as Guardian was talking about Slippery Pickle's comment there. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. But I think there is a differentiation between that sort of thing that people worry about. I mean, people in that sort of scenario, I think people worry about things like, and this is a key, big thing. People this day and age, one of the things that people worry about is money and stability, because money, makes the world go round. Without it, what are you going to buy? What food are you going to buy, et cetera, et cetera. So money is a key thing that people do, financial aspects of it. And it's you can really, people have killed themselves over financial things,
Too many has done that.
But I'm not, there are things like Guardian said, that people worry about that they can't control. You've got to prioritize things and say, right, okay, what have we got to work with? Lay it out on the table and deal with it, X, Y, and Z. I think there's a difference between that sort of thinking and a real PTSD triggering event, a real longer term emotional event. If you're stood next to someone, all of a sudden they get struck by lightning or they're killed by whatever reason, that could have been you. That's a real step and a level up. And then you're into the realms of the after effects. This is sort of something we haven't really touched on, stuff like behavioral changes, having trouble sleeping, not being able to eat. So, it has a big knock-on effect. If you don't sleep, you don't eat, your activity levels, your energy levels start to drop. You start to become worn down, really quickly. People might just suddenly burst out crying for no reason at all, and just withdrawing into themselves. And this is very common. Other people might start resorting to drugs, drinking, getting their hands on any sort of medication and just taking it as a way out sort of thing, or feeling the need to top themselves, going down the suicidal route and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, those, I'd suggest those sort of reactions and changes were the ones we should really think about. If there's no way out, that is pretty grim. I've said in some scenarios, I would always consider, I would always leave on the table for certain scenarios the suicide option. That's just me. If there's been a nuclear event and the whole world has just completely been flattened, there's a killer asteroid on the way, etc., the suicide option's always on the table. Take the nice, easy sleeping way out of it, or be destroyed, blown and ripped apart in some freakishly horrible way. So, behavioral changes and stuff like that, and addiction is something to really sort of look out for and nip in the bud straight away as soon as you see the sort of effects of it. Gambling, for instance, as well. It might be a localized event, and the town is starting to recover and rebuild itself, etc., etc. People might have gone down the drinking route, the drug route, the gambling route, and that's on a spiral to destruction straight away.
Yeah, it is.
Out of the ordinary sort of behavior, outbursts of anger and stuff like this. Just complete behavioral changes where people become irritable for no reason and stuff like that. Some people can find it difficult to accept what's happened than others, and there is a sort of recovery disparity there. I don't know whether it's a good thing or not to put people amongst people who are coping well. So if you get someone who's finding it tough to cope with, put them in with a group of people who are finding it easier to cope with, or just keep them in like-minded groups. That's that'll be a difficult choice.
I think it depends on the type of scenario that people are faced with.
Yeah.
Because different type of scenarios would impact people very differently. Like if you compare war, right? If there's like a mass scale war going on, people would react very differently to that than if there was, for example, like a solar event or something where all technology is wiped. Those type of scenarios as well, or a 2020 situation, having another one of those. So I think that it definitely comes down to the type of scenario that it would come down to, as to how people would behave with one another. And I do believe, unfortunately, like if I'm to be honest with everybody listening right now, and I'll be right, I've got to be to have integrity and to have conversation fully, we need to always be absolutely honest, right? So I'm extremely scared of human beings. And when I say that, being scared of them, I am extremely cautious of what they are capable of in times of SHTF when they are already stressed, and how people in my life have shown their true colors time and time again. I think that, yes, there are good people, and I'm glad that there are. I absolutely believe that there are. But I think that more than 50% of people are evil. And unfortunately, that's what I really believe. I believe that if given the right opportunity without the rule of law, I think that people become animals.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking about that truthfully, and it does suck that I've got to say that, but that's the truth. And I think that not all people are like that. I know that there are good people, but I think that you'd need to be extremely careful of who you trust in those type of scenarios, even in the modern world. I had a friend, and I'll tell you guys that I had a friend that spent a bit of time in jail, and I'm not going to tell you guys what he spent time in jail for. You can look but I was friends with him for almost 20 years, and he turned out to be somebody that I absolutely didn't see coming. I didn't see that coming at all. And he absolutely surprised me by doing so, and spent jail time by doing so as well. And it must have been something that was hidden within him the whole time. And how do you now replace that said friendship in duration time with anybody else that I've learned? So 20 years, where am I going to find 20 years again to spend with somebody that I can have as much time spent with them as a brother, only to find out that they're like that? So who am I to trust anybody, when it comes down to things like that? So I think people should be cautious and careful of who they trust.
Hey, Adventures with Zug, good to see you, brother.
So what I'm doing as well is, I don't know if some of these conversations and the way that I lean is a little bit dark, and I do apologize for that, but I think that sometimes honesty and the truth is dark, but I'll try to be a little bit lighter about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll try to Guardian. Again, and I'll try to keep it a bit, because the truth about SHTF is so much darker than we ever really touch on this panel or anywhere that people really talk about. The things that people really go through is absolutely horrible, right? But there are ways to talk about it in a commercialized, friendly, upbeat way that's not as doom and gloom. So we can do that.
Yeah. Thing with people is people have got the capability, even the scrawniest little scrote, the weakest looking person you can ever see or imagine, or even kids. They've got the capability and the strength to pick up an implement and kill you with it. That's the scary thing. And particularly if they are an emotionless being.
Yeah, with no sympathy or no compassion. And there's an ocean of them out there, preparedness veteran. There's an ocean of people that wouldn't give a damn to do so if it meant anything for them. And also not just that, but what do you do when you sleep? How do you have people in your community that you wouldn't be able to trust, and then you've got to sleep around those people? Okay, you know what I mean? Like that's
we know what you mean.
Yeah, so and like you say, sleeping, you got to continue sort of the daily routine and stuff like that. And when everything goes dark and you're asleep, who do you count on to
watching your back,
to look out for things?
Yeah, exactly. Because you've got to have rotational shifts, right?
Yeah.
If you don't, you're crazy. Like I could never sleep at night time, specifically if you've got a big, as your community starts to grow, and as a person would want to have that, like, I don't know. CR, are you going to come join us for this crazy talk and keep things a bit on a lighter side, or am I just going to keep going darker and darker down this rabbit hole?
I'm traumatized.
No, really. I was thinking about something here. There is two modes, basically. You can relate probably to this, PV, because you were in the army, and as I was back in the 90s. If something in a certain situation, you you are not in the army anymore, and because you are not there, because you're retired, or you did your time in the army.
Yeah.
And if you come to a certain situation, you have two modes: the civilian mode, but the time in the army, you have that second mode as well. So you go, well, if you feel threatened, feel a threat, you go back, you switch mode, so you go back to the soldier mode, and you get a different mental state, if you could say so.
I'm always in the army mode, but it's always within the law, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the days with the IRA threat, you were always looking over your shoulder, always checking, always going out in pairs, always looking under your car, etc., etc. So that sort of mode I'm always in now, and I just adapt my sort of mindset to the current era of things, if you like. But I class that as a sort of a pre-event actions, if you like. Dealing with a post-event action is, I think, different. Like I say, people's minds, mental scarring is a big thing. Knowing how to repair, you've also got you've almost got to break out of a mental first aid kit, if you like, to counter a PTSD route and to stop people going down this road of self-destruction or getting withdrawn into themselves, drug, drink, suicide, etc., etc. That's the sort of things that you can't really mitigate until something happens. Like I say, I don't think anyone really knows how they can deal with things unless they're constantly dealing with them. They're constantly being exposed to something. Like the doctor scenario, for instance. A doctor, a surgeon, a mortician, quite regularly, morticians do autopsies and stuff like this. It's 10 a penny to them. They're used to seeing that sort of visual side of it. But you take someone off the street, put them into a morgue, show them an autopsy, and it will be a completely different scenario. So, they'll start experiencing palpitations, sweats, breathing, all sorts of stuff. And other people might not. They might not even be bothered, and so on. Yeah, it's strange. The brain's a strange thing, and how do you deal with it? It's completely. It's a real minefield, I think. Coming to terms with sights, sounds, destruction, near-death experiences, and so on. Yeah. So Vanessa says there, when you're so close to death, what is your reactions? What do you see and do and think to see the future beyond that point? Well, it's a bit of a difficult question. I think there's immediate. Yeah, go on. I was going to say I think there's immediate responses and then the longer term ones. But go on, Gary.
No, I can hold my thought. I was just going to say that people don't give intuition enough credit, and they will not listen to their intuition, and then they'll land themselves into trouble, and they'll forget that the intuition warned them about something. So that's all I was going to say about it. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, if it feels wrong, something could be wrong. Start to ascertain what is wrong. Logic. For me, I'm more of a logical person. If I feel something's about to go down or something's wrong, what are the key indicators that made me feel that way? I'd look around and my attention will be more focused. My perception will become. I'd go to PrepCon 1 as opposed to PrepCon 2 and that sort of stuff. I'll be more sort of aware and start evaluating the situation a bit more. Yeah, how do you deal with mental scarring? That's a real tough question.
Yeah, it is.
Some people are in denial. Some people complete panic, guilt. In some instances, it can be about timing, luck. Why was he luckier than me, and so on and so on. But you can mitigate some of this by beforehand, by being well prepared and choosing your right location and making the best of your own circumstances beforehand. Getting measures in place, getting to know the right people, talking things out, thrashing things out, training as well. Training goes a very long way, and training should incorporate, your actions on various instances, your exposure to sights, sounds, scenarios, and stuff like this. But yeah, intuition. I mean, there's been many instances where people have thought something was going to happen, felt it, and then it did happen. It's up to you what you do then. Do you take heed of your intuition and act on it, or you ignore it, or whatever? But do something about it, I'd say. If you do something about it and it's the wrong decision, fine. If you've got out, for instance, if you're in a big crowded area and you think something's going to happen, you get out. And if nothing happens, then so what? What you've done is you've got out of that situation, and that's it. Nothing's come to it. But if something did happen, then you're lucky you actually did get out of that situation. Yeah, exactly there. So that's when situational awareness can come into play. Yeah, I mean, you could walk down and be aware of things and look around and put every plan in place. But there are, feelings are your sixth sense. Your spidey senses go out there and tell you something's not quite right. No, I'm sure most of us have sort of experienced that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, prepper for the ages.
Jedi level training, yeah.
Trust your gut feeling. Then
yeah, trust your gut
that is
feeling.
reliable. That's really reliable. I did the mistake not to trust my gut feeling, and everything went south. So after that, I trust my gut feeling.
I tell you, I saw Bosnia in 1994. We were going through this village, and as a UN sort of worker, we'd gone through this village that had just gone into a big ceasefire, and there were people coming out of their bomb shelters that have been in their bomb shelters for months, especially the kids, And when they come out, and we could see them walking around the streets for the days afterwards, and they didn't look in a good place, put it that way. They were all pasty white. Their eyes, we've all heard the expression of the 1,000-yard stare. They had the 1,000-yard stare. Their eyes were just blank, staring into thin air, looking round, and they're all quiet, subdued, this sort of thing. And we didn't see any sort of pattern or normality build up for weeks and weeks afterwards. So that's that's a good sort of example of how people would react to a long-term situation, because some of these events, they're not going to last 5 minutes, 2 hours, etc., or a couple of days. Some of these events might last weeks or months. For instance, the siege of Sarajevo, for instance. Yeah, the people in Sarajevo during that sort of instance were under threat of dying every day. Lack of food, lack of water. They're fighting amongst themselves. There was a scrabble for resources and all this sort of stuff. They couldn't go out in daylight without, the fear of snipers shooting them. And this sort of thing wore people down so much that they were literally shell-shocked, PTSD type victims then. Well, I shouldn't use the word victim, really. That's not the right word, but yeah.
So Einstein, of course, also alluded to the thing where if there is a WW3, that, a WW4 would be with sticks and stones.
Yeah.
So I think that's like my understanding of within our lifetimes. I believe that it's more than 50% likely that we will end up somehow cutting ourselves off of the current things that provide us with as much stability as they do, like technologically wise, and just shopping, the just-in-time delivery service, the whole way that society caters to us in the way that it does. I think that I hope it doesn't, though. That's what the thing is, right? Like I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't believe that it might end up being that way. But I really believe that hope prevails and that that society flourishes. So that's my 2 cents. I'm also going to say, with that though being said, I will say that I've really enjoyed this evening with you guys, and I will catch up with you soon as well. I might be back if you're on very late, Shadow. I don't know, you don't do that as late things as you used to anymore. But yeah, if you are still on a bit later, I'll definitely catch up. Thanks to everybody in the side chats. I really enjoy these, and it's like a way that I can have a complete sober bar session with the ladies and gents of the Preparedness Veteran and ShadowScoutSwede streams, Anyway, bye-bye for now, everybody. Keep well. Bye.
Take care, Guardian.
Have a good one, Guardian.
Thanks for stopping by.
I think trying to get back to normality as quickly as possible and establish some sort of routine is key.
Yeah.
I did a video about this. Getting into some sort of routine is a key aspect of getting people's minds adapting and functioning to a sort of new post-event environment. And you can do that by, amongst a group or a family, for instance, have sort of 2 meetings a day, one in the morning, one in the evening, or just one in the evening, for instance. And in that sort of meeting, you can all come together. You can talk about what's happened. You can talk about what we're doing the next day. Did things go well? What are the problems, what we've got to prioritize for the next day. And then talk about the current information streams you got. What's the latest news that's happened, so that everyone is on the same page. No one's being left out of the loop.
Hey, Bob. Good to see you, brother.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, guys. What's up? Yeah, I'm all right.
So people being kept out of the loop in a stressful situation, there's nothing worse than that, because you all sorts of thoughts creep into your mind saying, why am I left out of the loop? Am I, did he not tell me for a reason? And all sorts of guilt trips start to build up, and conspiracy sort of thoughts and this sort of stuff. And you start to almost feel as if you're getting victimized then. So in any sort of keeping a routine going, people's minds active, and give them a sort of target to work to and something to look forward to, and getting them to know what the situation on the ground is. That's a key aspect, I think. Definitely. There's nothing worse than being kept in the dark. There's an old saying, we're like mushrooms, kept in the dark and fed on shit. And it just makes people's mental state worse, especially if they're in a stressful situation or they're on the path to some sort of mental scarring. Definitely, yeah. It's, but then again, like I said at the beginning, many people are different, and you could just go on to the other aspect of it and say, well, tough, deal with it. And a lot of people do deal with it because they have to. They've got no other option. They've got no other option, no other help, no other people to turn to. Some people deal with it well. Other people go down the path of complete destruction and all sorts of nastiness.
That's true.
And, there's many places in the world now as we're speaking that people are completely distraught and in a complete mental spiral. Everything from people trying to escape North Korea, oppression, people on the front lines, Ukraine, Russia, on both sides, people getting bombs in all sorts of different places, people who are trying to cope with mental scarring from previous wars, or people trying to cope with debt, gambling, drug addiction. Oh, it's a massive minefield, massive.
Yeah, I just focus in on what's inside my house.
Yeah, like I say, that's another sort of. Yeah. Oh,
because that's what I can deal. That's what I can deal with. I can change what goes on inside of my own life and my own house.
Yeah.
Out there, I can't.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you just stay out, and I'm going to deal with what I do.
I was talking about with this this exact sort of subject there with the missus and someone else this week. I was talking about someone this week about all these demonstrations that are going on and where it's all going, this sort of stuff. I said, well, what difference does it make? You can't do anything about it.
No,
the only
you
thing
can't.
the only thing you can do, and the only action you can do on a yearly basis or whatever it is vote. Do your votes, deal with it, get on with it. Don't start whinging and going on.
Well, I always vote, and I sign petitions whenever petitions come around. And like when the demonstrations are shutting down highways here in the U.S., they had a national day of doing that.
Yeah.
What can you do? You put food and water in your car, so when you get stuck in traffic, and some toilet paper if you got to jump out and take a dump. That's all you can do.
I said to the missus, I said, it's getting to the stage now where sod it, I'm not bothered anymore. The only thing I'm bothered about is our own little circle, your own little tight circle of family and your close friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People who actually interact with you.
Yeah, people like with me, I live on a dead end street. I can see these people. I deal with them, and I deal with the wife and what goes on in the house, and because beyond that, what do you do? Yeah, there's nothing you can do, and you cannot control the actions of other people. That's an important thing to remember for everyone out there. You cannot control the actions of other people.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, because if you try to do that, you're going to drive yourself nuts.
I hear a lot of people.
You turn up in the nut house.
I see a lot of people driving themselves nuts, trying to analyze the causes of the current strife in the world, and they just go around in circles. On one hand they're blaming bloody Bilderbergs, next hand they're blaming all sorts of other religious factions, and the other hand they're blaming the government and all this sort of stuff,
and blaming the Americans for everything too.
So what? What can you do about it? You just end up going round and round and round in circles, building yourself up, whipping yourself up into a frenzy. And then you go to bed at night and you wake up and it all starts again. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think
it's still just that far to the supermarket. The price went up a little bit.
I think you get to this stage when you reach about 50 odd.
Yeah.
When you suddenly realize that all the effort that you put in the past, or the worrying and stuff like that, it just made no difference at all. You're still faced with the same daily problems. Your next paycheck, or your next income stream, whatever it is, your pension and stuff like that, and then you go through sort of the monthly cycle of payment and prioritizing what you're spending your money on, and the circle of threats could expand out from there. Your security, your family's, your security for your own house and stuff like that, and the crime rate, and you jump in your car, then is some idiot going to crash into me because he hasn't looked both ways, and the real sort of things that people deal with, crime rates. You're going to get mugged. Is some freak going to jump over the fence and try and bloody stab me? Or
that is a concern in my area. Yeah,
is some freak going to be trying to stab me in the shopping centre? But yeah, it's interesting how people react under certain conditions.
I kind of look at like example is how this is a season in the States to shut the highways down and light brush fires and all that. I kind of put that as somewhat of a challenge. How can I plan to make life easier for me and mine during those times?
Yeah.
And like, my get home bag. Each one of our cars has got a get home bag. Got a little bit of food and water in it. So
Yep.
and toilet paper.
Can't forget the TP.
You
Yeah,
can't be
I mean,
without
it
that.
really, and I mean, there's not much else you can do. The laws have changed in Washington State to where if you're blocking the freeway now, you're automatically going to get arrested. Period. It's not a
What?
negotiation anymore. You're going to
Yeah.
get arrested. Yeah, if you block the highways here.
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
stop all these just stop oil type.
Yeah, hi, Huga.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so but then it takes a fair number of police officers to come and arrest them all, and until then, have some food, have some water,
It's, the events that happened on October 7th in Israel. A lot of people who were there in that was it a festival, wasn't it? A lot of people were there in that festival who encountered and went under the experience of that Hamas attack. Quite a few of them have committed suicide since then. So
yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
It's another good example there of the mental aspects post sort of event. In that case, it was a terrorist event. A lot of people forget as well.
In my own situation, where we used to live was infested with drug addicts, and I had so many problems with them trying to rob us and all that. We moved away from there, and it took us about a year to wind down after that.
Right.
About a year. I mean, it was, even when we moved in here, all of us were still open carry a pistol for about a year.
Yeah.
And my family, fortunately, didn't deal with it as much as I did, because I was home guarding the house. And it takes about a year for me to wind down. I haven't dropped my guard, and I never will do that. But that's me and my own mental capacity. Because I can't do nothing about the government or a foreign country, but I can do with what's in my area here. And yeah, there for a long time I was on edge, not psychologically, but anytime I saw somebody coming near the house, I'm standing up and I'm looking right at them. I'm not so much like that now,
Yeah.
No, I can believe it takes that time to wind down. You lived in that old area for how long?
10 years. When we first moved in there, it was nice. Then the drugs came in, and it slowly corrupted the entire area.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine it takes 1 year to wind down after that time.
Yeah.
Especially when it goes 24/7.
It did. Yeah.
You begin to think, when can I get some good sleep?
Yeah. See, Caitlin mentioned the same thing. You hear sounds after you go through a situation where mine wasn't, rocket attacks or anything, but it was, addicts trying to get into the house. And Caitlin mentioned something right over there in the side chat. I hear sounds that are not good outside, and I'm watchful and listen. Yeah, once you've been through a few scary experiences, and man, you're heightened, your senses are going off. But I'd say one thing that really helped me in my situation is the last place we lived. It was a rental, so I could only do so much to fortify and barricade the house. This is my place. I can do whatever I want, and that's really given me more of a peace of mind.
I agree with that. I agree. It's always a problem when you rent a house, because you can't do whatever you want or would like to. That you get very limited to what you can do.
Yeah.
If you don't have that luck, you get a really good guy who says, "Hey, do whatever you want." But
that's rare.
Those guys are really rare. So
yeah.
I think sorry, go on, Bob.
The house that we lived in belonged to a large corporation, and we had managers cycle in and out. And as soon as we got a new manager, I'd put cameras up so I could get some forewarning. Then the manager would walk around with a clipboard and a lackey, and cameras not allowed. And I'd have them up for a few months, and I'd have to take them down. Oh, okay. Well, 6 months later, we got a new manager. Put them back up, and I don't have to deal with that shit anymore.
Frozen.
And all that around. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of different scenarios. I mean, when he's come back off ops, it would take me about a week, and you'd be back into the groove again, stuff like that. But that's different because you're completely detaching yourself from that scenario and location. When it comes to crime, it's always there. The threat as crime is always there, especially if it's in your own country. You could move from the south of the country to the north of the country, but you're still in the same sort of land and the same infrastructure of that country, if you see what I mean. And it's always there. So yeah, it's a different. There's many different aspects to it, isn't there?
Prepper for the Ages, I read your comment. I just connected with your channel here just now. I went through the same thing with an old homosexual for 6 years. Stalked me in the last place that we lived. That's a far different mental strain than common street crime. I read your comment. I'm with you on that. I've been through it myself. That's very trying. That's very wearing, especially with a guy like me. I have the ability to take somebody down, and it's very stressful not to react physically in a situation like that. Yeah.
Right, so I'm just going to shortly. I've got another about 10 minutes max. We'll disappear, and
yeah, as usual.
Yeah, I've got a set schedule. Stop me going over the rails.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
Yeah, it's funny how so many permutations, so many different scenarios, locations, threats, events, so many ways different people's minds work and how they react and adapt to things. It's really quite funny, actually.
Prepper for the Ages, would you like to be able to come up on panel and talk about your situation? I'd like to hear it from someone else because I went through a lot, and many times when I bring that topic up, you're just paranoid, or no, I'm not. It's real. Stalkers are real. They're more dangerous than a junkie,
Yeah, they are.
Get fanatical to the point.
And they are so persistent there, and they don't give up.
Yeah,
they keep going and going and going and going. Mm-hmm. They are like a Duracell battery.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of the film Cape Fear, where the guy knew his rights, but he pushed them, and the bloke on the receiving end of it was terrorized, and he knew the other bloke knew his rights and stuff like this, and they know they can stay within certain boundaries and the law won't touch them, sort of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's the present, even the presence of someone that it's like a terrorization sort of acts, really.
Yeah, I'd say a stalker is more dangerous than your average street junkie, because they know where you live, they know your schedule, they know where you work, everything. They know everything about you, But the only thing that worked for me is moving. The only thing.
How did you deal with that mentally then?
It was tough. Basically, what worked for me very well was physical exercise, getting out away from the house and walking away from the house during most of the year, and then looking forward to our annual or semi-annual trip over to the Philippines.
So did going back to your house, did that feel like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
a big sort of
because many
noise,
times he would be in his car and he would follow me back to my house. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I'm not joking with you guys. I mean, I live within walking distance of the store, and he'd follow me and see me in the store. In fact, to prove to me once that he still follows me, and he can, I went to the hardware store to get some chain for some hanging baskets, and I saw his car in the parking lot. And, okay, he followed me here. And then the next day was a piece of the same chain that I bought from the hardware store laying behind my car.
Mm.
He followed me, saw everything that I'd purchased, and so going back home after going out walking, it was a very difficult time. He made my life as miserable as he could. But the most miserable part for me was not physically doing something to him. That was the worst.
Yeah.
I couldn't lash out. Oh, I could have. I have a shovel, and I could have without a question. But not reacting to it was more difficult for me. He only lived 2 houses away from me.
Mm. Yeah, not good. Get out in the environment, move somewhere. It's not a good situation when you don't even look forward to going back home.
No, I didn't want to go back home. Yeah,
traditionally actually safe space sort of thing, and if the threat is still there, then it's makes it even worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I prepper for the ages. I approached the police about a restraining order, and as soon as I mentioned to the police officer that he's a homosexual and I am not, that's when the policeman's attitude changed, and he goes, "You need to have concrete proof. You need to have photographic or video evidence of what he's doing." Why? And the police officer had to watch his words very carefully. Basically, what he said and what I saw going to court so many times with my ex-wife, the judges are gay. Think about it. If you bring up something against another gay, that judge is going to hang you.
But I think it would be a different story if you would in the same level.
Yeah. I begged my wife to please do this. My wife, you're a female. You're a brown-skinned female.
Take care, Huga.
Yeah, you need to help me with this. You need to put your name on this. Then the courts will react and they will help. No, I'm not going to lie. It's like, he's after you, not me. And the wife stuck with her guns. I will not lie.
Yeah. The best thing you probably could have done was just get out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the opportunity to get out as well. If someone couldn't get away from their location, that would be even worse because they got no way out, do they? I still have the option of living overseas if right.
Go living in another country because we've got a house over there now.
Yeah.
And that option is still there for me. If he comes back and starts doing shit again, that's still an option. It's just, go over there with my wife and she's in my presence. I can get a 1-year visa for free because I'm married to a Philippine national and I could stay there for a year. That is still on the table because fixing the system, it's not going to happen. Like the judges are all gay. If I'm a straight guy, they'll blame me and they'll lock me up or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, we're just normal people. Even film stars and rock stars and the celebrities have this problem, and they have trouble identifying them, getting rid of them, and taking them to court and having some sort of action against them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wasn't John Lennon? Did he get? Well, there's all sorts of conspiracies knocking around, but I'm sure there's a couple of other celebrities that have actually been killed by.
There's probably a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of freaks out there.
Why? What I don't get is like, why me? What the fuck? I'm just a dude.
Yeah. Could be all sorts of reasons.
And I got nothing against somebody if you're homosexual. I don't care. I'm not. You are. I'm not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not like I abuse the guy at all. It's like, you are. I'm not. So what? Fuck off. You know? I mean, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a strange world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
But that was to me with that is a shit hits a fan situation as a stalker, because your life is in danger. And the way I dealt with it was just basically physical activity, getting a good hobby, and leaving the country once or twice a year, getting out of here.
Yeah. Right, I'm gonna depart, Shadow.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for stopping by, PV.
Bob, by the way, did you watch those those Hitler clips a couple of weeks ago?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, those were good. Those were good.
Oh, that's a brilliant one. Yeah, so I'll catch you on a bit, and I'll catch you later, Bob.
All right, later.
Shadow. And everyone in the audience, thanks for turning up. You're important stuff like that. Vanessa, Adventure with Sol, Caroline, CR, and everyone else that I can't immediately remember or can see on the chat. So anyway, have a good week, and I'll catch you all later.
Yeah. I actually take Prepper for the Ages advice to do a stream on that topic. So
yeah, that'd be a good stream. That would be. That is a real life-threatening situation.
And the problem is with that is everybody can basically have that bad luck to have a stalker after.
Right. Yeah.
For no reason. And for no reason.
Yeah, and it's quiet. The neighbors don't know what's going on, because these guys are smooth. They're slick. They know where the cameras are. They know when the lights come off and on. They know when your neighbors go to work. They're smooth. They it's quiet, it's silent, and it's abuse, and it's dangerous,
Yeah, so I have a list with topics for streams.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm gonna take for next week's stream, next Saturday, how to deal with stalkers.
That's a good topic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is my next week. I need to set the stream up, but I do that after this stream. So
yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm in with the Filipino people on YouTube here. I'll share that out. Because people internationally have had the same things happen to them, and that I'll share it out. I've got a good bunch of Filipinos that I hang out with most of the time nowadays.
Yeah,
I'm respected in their group.
Yeah.
So be expecting a bunch of views on that Shadow.
Yeah. I will set it up after this stream, and that will be the next week's. So thanks, Prepper for the Ages, for a good idea, because I never never thought about to have a stream about that specific topic.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be for the next week.
Yeah. Well, I'll finish this cigarette with you guys, and I'll go bounce out and go to the supermarket for a little while.
Yeah.
Got to go over there and get more smokes and go drool over some. I won't plant any seeds outside or anything until after the first part of May, because it's just too cold. The seeds won't germinate, and I'm dying to get my flowers planted outside, and that's one thing that makes me very happy now is planting flowers. Yeah, Caitlin, anybody who messes with you about being Muslim, just remember that they're a dick. You're a dick and I'm not. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care. I don't care if you're Buddhist. It doesn't make any difference to me. Smart, mature people will never do that. Never.
In my opinion, people can have their own religion, whatever they can believe in, whatever they want.
Yep, that's right.
I don't mind.
I don't mind.
As long as there are an exception for that, as long as they don't force their religion or beliefs onto another person.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. 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 For me, I've been I have a retirement house in a Muslim area, and I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
You know what? I've had more Christians mess with me than Muslims. Why is that?
Yeah, I agree.
Like
I have a lot of friends that are Muslims.
I don't have any problem with them.
That live here in my city, and I have never had any problems with them. They are really fun people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my! I have left my butt off.
Yeah. Well, my neighbors behind me are from Bangladesh. They've got Muslim friends that come over and visit with them. Now, I'm a pretty smart guy. I've been around the world quite a bit. I don't go into a panic. So what? They're my neighbor's friends. I don't care. Oh no, man. You realize one of the reasons why internationally people move to the U.S. is to escape bad situations. They don't want to come here and go walk into a bad situation. They want to get away from it,
Kaylin says, just be careful when sharing a meal with them. You may get stuffed to the max, especially during Ramadan.
Ramadan, yeah.
Yeah, that would be the only problem.
That's why you guys all know I'm married to a Filipina, and that's the only problem with going to the Philippines is the ladies over there just keep putting more food in front of you, man.
Well, I'm already full. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
More.
This is Miss Ami's special dish, and you finish that off, and this is Miss Cristal's special dish. Oh, and sometimes we go over there twice a year, and during the month of April, a year or two ago, I gained 10 pounds. 10 pounds in a month.
Yeah. And when you step on the scale will break because you are so heavy.
Yeah, I had the only time I weigh myself is at the doctor's, and I had a checkup, and I went, oh my God, hon, you got to talk to those women in your family. They're Oh, prepper for the ages. Have you ever had to go over to a Filipino's house? I tell you, I've had this happen so many times, even here in the States, because I'm married to one. As soon as you come in the house, they hand you an empty plate and a spoon. And that's that's just how it is. And you are expected to go over there, and it doesn't stop. More ladies show up with their favorite, and oh God, I could imagine it's probably like that during Ramadan. Also, I would bet it's very similar. Yeah, you've
probably,
got it. You get this is our festival. Oh man, eat more of this, eat more of that. Oh my God, man, you just want to take a nap. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do.
And then you have to do. Then you have to do a lot of exercise the day after.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't need any breakfast. You don't need any breakfast at all or lunch. You just exercise.
I
You had
remember
enough of food the day before.
I've been with my Filipina for many years now. She's been here in the States, married to me for almost 17 years, 16 years. I remember one of the times when we got together with other Filipinos was women are very clever. They're very clever. They feed you a big dinner. Then all of us men, well, most of us were white American guys, the husbands. We're out in the living room, we're talking a little bit, and everyone starts to get a little bit sleepy because your stomach's full.
Yeah.
And then all at once, all the wives came out of the kitchen with a nice big slice of pie, a dessert for all of the husbands. And then next thing you know, you see all of us men were just dropping off. And I could understand enough Tagalog to when one of them says, "Yeah, they're all asleep," and then that's when the women were in the kitchen, the men were out in the living room, and that's when the women start. They put us guys to sleep, and then they did their thing in the kitchen,
Oh Lord.
Well, I'm gonna bounce out of here, guys. Go get some smokes and get outside for a little bit. So,
Yeah.
good to see you again, Shadow. You take care, everybody.
Yeah, you take care too, buddy.
All right, bye-bye. Peace out.
Bye. Peace, Journey. Good to see you again, my friend. Why didn't I do that for? We do like that. Yeah, that was Bob. But anyway, I think we choose this topic for next week. So prepare for the ages. I hope you will be happy about that one. Read scenarios and any good thoughts. Well, there are a lot of different scenarios you can choose from. Floodings, a mega earthquake, or grid down. Yeah, you need to catch up on the chat. It's hard to catch up sometimes, especially when you have to keep your eyes on everything else. What books do people read on the subject? Fiction and or non-fiction? Good question. I believe there is books on long-term, grid down scenario. There might be Boy Scout handbook. Yeah. I don't think our Boy Scouts here have a handbook. No, we don't. Solar Basics helped me. That's good. Uh, did you like? Hey,
Hi.
good to see you.
It's been a while, so I had to say hi.
Yeah,
How you been?
yeah, being busy. A lot of things to do. I get obviously more busy than ever, obviously.
But you've always been busy.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but well, I gotta have a new job, and I deliver groceries to companies and regular persons who order them online. So
How you liking that?
yeah, my customers like me. They call me an angel for I don't know why. I don't have any wings.
Well, there you go. You're an angel in your own way.
Ultimate Grid Down Survival Handbook. Now I need to check that. No, I don't think I have read that yet. I need to check. Left. No, I haven't begun with reading that one yet. I have so many books, so I don't remember which one of them. No, I will begin to read that as soon as possible, I hope. And then I have meetings once in a month with a local civil defense.
Yep.
So
But ever since I've known you, you've always been busy.
Yeah. And on top of that, I have my training 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, evenings. I just begin to train jiu-jitsu I begin this year. So, yeah.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah. And on top of that, I'm working on planning with a colleague from the Civil Defense on Members Day. We will have that on Sunday, May 19th. So that will be from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And that is a lot of things to plan because we are only 2 who plans it. Yeah. So the theme on that Members Day will be prepping, and here in Sweden that we learn the emergency preparedness basics. It's only basics, not higher than basics, and that's is a little bit of a problem actually. We should go. There are so many levels. There is advanced level and higher level above that, and a level above that. So yeah, that is
Yeah.
so wide area, so there is so much to learn, and it's not good just to stick to the basics. Well, basics are good. I don't mind to repeat the basics. I don't mind. We all need repetition on everything we do to
Yeah.
keep our knowledge fresh, and so that will be probably 1.5 hour for me. So I have at least 8 or 9 points on a list on what I'm gonna talk about. So that will be I told them that will be emergency preparedness, aka prepping 2.0, basically. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of preparation too. Planning and everything. So yeah.
oh
it.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah, and work, and so the only time I have basically, and I have to upload videos every Wednesday, and then I have my Saturday evening live streams. So that things keeps me busy.
Yeah. Don't overwhelm yourself though.
Well, it's a risk to get overwhelmed. It's always a risk.
Yeah. True.
And it sucks if you get, because it's really hard to get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. We gotta grow and learn as we go. Indeed. That is what I'm going to try to do with my colleagues in the civil defense.
It's good to hear you're doing good though. Busy but
Yeah.
good.
Well, I prefer to be busy than not. It's better to have things to do than have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So,
And your time goes faster too.
indeed, the months are just flying, basically. The time is flying. I feel what already soon in May already next week.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Ready.
Aren't we in January? It takes time before your brain keep up with the months.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I just go home for work too, so yeah.
Yeah, I guess you have been pretty busy yourself.
Well, now I don't work at Walmart like I used to. Now I'm a healthcare provider. So yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so I keep busy.
Yeah,
as
that
well.
definitely keeps you busy.
Yeah. But yeah, but I'm going on this week is gonna be the 4th week working straight. No days off.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, so it's like my body feels it. My body wants to break her in. It's like, calm down. So yeah, but other than that, it's all good.
Yeah, Kaylin, we are going into warp speed. Definitely. The time goes flying faster the older you get. I'm thinking a large tote bag in leather with wheels to pull around a grocery store, but you can pick it up and carry to. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that too, Vanessa. Yes, you're not. Star Trek word. So that is nice that you get a new job.
Yeah. No. My son.
I figured.
Yeah.
Slippery Pickle, I ask you, what kind of healthcare provider?
Mainly it's for seniors, citizens, older people.
Retired
Yeah.
people.
Mainly, yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, and I drive a lot. I have to go home to home. So
Yeah,
and then you only have a certain amount of time to get from point A to point B. So yeah, that's fun too.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
don't
good to hear
recognize that
everybody's.
one. I got someone pop up in the backstage.
Oh, you're good. I just wanted
Yeah,
to say hi.
yeah,
I haven't seen
that,
you in a bit. I might as well say pop in and said hi.
yeah. That's
It's
nice of you.
yeah.
No, it was. I heard a little bit of pop. That's
Oh
a
no,
signal
you're
that
okay.
somebody come on the
The
backstage.
basement, yeah.
And yeah, basement. And the problem was, it was yes, why he said, and I didn't recognize it, so I kicked that person out of the studio. But
Mm.
I had some issues with trolls, so
Ah, oh, ain't that lovely? But now you know you're doing your job right because if you don't have trolls, then that means you're not doing your job right.
last week I had a troll. It was the strange thing was it was authenticized channel. Everything. Oh, okay, and the person was there, but it was a troll. So I had to
Mm.
shut down the whole stream and delete it, and then I had to redo it again. Oh, that sucked really. Hey, dear love survival, good to see you, brother. Those healthcare skills will do you well later on. I did healthcare years ago, loved it, but can't do that work anymore. Well, it's a good job.
Yeah, it is, but it has you
It
you
has
lose
its drawbacks.
and you lose people and you know you get
Yeah,
attached to them and yeah, it's crazy. It is.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
But you have good, as long as you have good colleagues, more experienced, well, you have them that can help you out. And, well, you talk together, I guess, and discuss things. Now that person died. And
Yeah. Other than that, it's good. I love my patients. They adore me. They do.
yeah, I
They
bet they
spoil me
do.
too. Like they spoil me too.
Yeah, and that's because you're so nice.
Yeah. I love my patients. I'm sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah, Vanessa is a U.S. Air Force medic, years past.
Nice.
Semi-retired math teacher now. Yeah, Vanessa is really good at math, and I really suck on it. So
Yeah, me too. Sorry, Vanessa. You want to teach me?
Me and math doesn't tag along that well.
Me neither. Yeah, but I better get off here. 'Cause I
Yeah.
probably need to feed my son too. I just got home. I'm like, oh, I saw you live. I'm like, let me say hi.
Yeah, and I
Oh yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. It's been a while since we were actually live together. I think what Spicy's? I don't even remember how long it's been.
Well, can it be 2 years, 3 years,
Maybe
maybe
yeah,
4?
yeah.
Well,
So
well, it's so long time that feels like centuries ago.
time flies. So yeah. But it's good to see you and good to hear
It's
you're
good to
doing
see you too.
good. Bye, everybody. Bye, chat.
Take care, my friend.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's Teresa. Really nice. Well, I had known her for a couple of years now. Um, I had a situation where a person who frequently stayed in the house at night was hitting me from the person already in a relationship with. I was taken off that client's call. Okay. Yeah, that's good. CR, so you are out in 5, huh? Okay, no problem. My mom is not doing well. Need to get to Arizona soon. Yeah. I get, how bad is it, Vanessa? I guess that is not good. I'm sorry to hear that peace journey. And I think it's a good idea to go to Arizona and visit your mom. I found 2 vehicles to look at this coming week. If one pans out, I then have transportation to get out there. Okay. That's good news, Vanessa. Yeah, you need some transportation too. And I guess that will be a pretty long drive too. At least a couple of hours. I have been without a vehicle since last June. Yeah, I remember that. So what kind of vehicles and cars are you going to look at? Is it a pickup or is it a pickup or a van or a Jeep? 1,800 miles to Fort Worth, then another 900 to Tucson. Ooh, that's a long ride, Vanessa. Oh, Lord in heaven. Take care, CR. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. God bless. Trucks. One, GMC Sierra 1500 Limited, and another is a 1996 Ford F 250 with the old 7-liter diesel engine. Oh, that is a good car, my friend. A Ford F 250. Those are really good and reliable. I would like to have one, but they are really expensive here. But that is two good trucks you will get, and I hope the Ford F-250 will be your choice. Get a bus, they are cheap, and Arizona has free spaces to park in the national spaces, and then you have capacity to build off-grid RV. Adventures with Sug says, get a European or Japanese car. They handle much better and are made much better than American cars. My best time, 28 hours to Fort Worth. Whew. Tractor haul and pull a utility trailer. Same here. I won't get an F-250 for under 25,000. Retired mill. Tucson has one of the largest places in the U.S. to park. Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, that is good options. This is a 96 F-250. Yes, used cars today seem 20,000 more than they should be. Yeah. It's scary how much cars are now. Yeah, I agree with you about that one. Davis Mountain AFB is the U.S. Air Force boneyard for every retired plane, etc. Yeah, I heard about that. My break is over. I will catch you later, guys. Good journey all. Okay, peace journey. Take care. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. God bless. The Sierra is under 20,000. Same for that used Ford. While I believe a new one would cost a lot more. We only have 2006 onwards in the country. Like I said, working accident-free, 25,000 brand new, 125,000. Ooh, that's expensive. The Ford would be nice. That engine has a reputation of being darn near destructible. Yeah, probably. If I ever get the money, the next car will be a pickup truck. Good choice. A new Ford Ranger comes at over 40 to 50,000. Yeah. Yeah, that's way beyond your price range. Definitely. If I ever get the money, I getting a camper van. Yeah, that is another good choice. Just looked out some windows. Sky is getting dark and it's only 4 p.m. US Central. Storms coming in at us from the southwest. Ooh. I hope the storm will not be too bad. .2 liter diesel. Ooh, that's a big engine. A utility trailer with my camping gear aboard. Ability to set up my tent on the trailer itself too. That is my goal. Yeah, you always have nice ideas for a setup. Your camping gear. 22:07 here in UK. It is definitely dark. Lol. Yeah, it's dark here as well. And my time is 23:08. I'm planning on buying a 6x6 fire truck and making it my home. Okay. That will be a lot of work. Yeah. Truck, trailer, camping gear, etc. All to travel, fish, hunt, camp around. Yeah. Multi-purpose. A company in Connecticut sells good sets of utility tents, etc. Okay, which company is that, Vanessa? I will make it so a tent can build up directly on the trailer, but one that can be built up around our off-trailer. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me. Yeah, that is a good thing. Weather can mess things really up. MDM products in Milford, Connecticut. Okay. I'm gonna try to remember that one. Just enough space for me, my motorbike, and a car and a garage. Yeah. Yeah, as long as it fits your needs, Slippery Pickle. I am buying their 2 bike and utility trike covers. Yeah, you will definitely need that. Otherwise, your gear or equipment will get wet, and that is not fun. 16 by 12 utility tent and extra rain tarp over it. Okay, that sounds good. Stovepipe seal and such in it. Okay, that's really cool. Those covers can come in handy for covering other items besides bikes, tracks. Yeah. Yes, tarps, basically extreme duty tarps. Yeah. I'm going to start a car camping, but I've only got a Ford Focus at the moment, so it will be a bit tight with my 6'2" frame. Yeah, probably. Multifunctional equipment, tools, and supplies. Yeah. You want to have them multifunctional. Or otherwise you need to carry a lot more. And that is unnecessary. So it's better to have items and gear that are multi-purpose and multifunction. A local company makes custom tarps too. They are fun to visit and watch a huge tarp with D-rings, etc. made. Okay, that's cool. I know I'm late. I'm thinking letting go of materialism will help before Shtf situations. And the ability of getting money and food. No, ATM machines and I will not take the mark of the beast. No. Dream sewing machines, enormous size ones. You mean those industrial sewing machines, Vanessa? I need a laser welder in my life. A laser welder? I never heard of those before. Truck trailer, portable, shelter, etc. Yep. There are sewing machines that are big enough to handle sewing cells for boats. On that size could be used to sew other types of covers. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, yes, industrial ones. Yeah, those are really expensive. Open build CNC machine with a rotary acid and the laser head, and now the newly released plasma cutter and welder. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. Rotary axle. Yeah. But those are really expensive. Probably too. I used the plasma cutter. Those are really fun. A generator for the wattages used. Yeah, that too. Solar generators, etc. Yeah. The thing I like with plasma cutter is you get a nice clean cut, easy to use. They are so fun. A best diesel generator from a company in Maine has been on my buy list. Yeah, if I remember it correctly, you mentioned it before. You get 220 volt single phase ones now. Around 2000, they are 37 amps to 12 amps load, so you'll need at least a 8 kilowatt inverter or a 5k kilowatt genset. Okay. I would love an industrial 3D printer. Yeah, those are really expensive. Oh Lord in heaven. The channel minute. Man prepares videos on all kinds of solar power stations from small to very high capacity ones. 8 liters for 10 hours at half power, efficient when charging the battery banks. Yeah. I will have 2 of those genes by the end of this decade. Yeah, I hope you will have those. Same thing as kilowatt basically, but multiply by 1.13 or something. Yeah, 50 solar panels is good. More to come on the 2 workshops I need to build. Yeah. You have to build a lot, Vanessa. $50 solar panels are really good. To have 50 solar panels here installed, that is expensive. Yes, working load versus maximum load matters on the generators. Make sure you build in reserves for the tools and equipment drawing power. Yeah, you need to have that. 50 solar panels is quite a lot. Yeah, it is. Solar panels are not cheap. They are really expensive. And it depends on what you need and what you want to have and what you are going to use them for. If that is to heat your heat your house, or if you need panels for the electricity. A 600-watt solar panel cost me around $200. Yeah, that's about 2,000 in my currency. Monocrystalline, 14,000 watts peak power, so close to that each hour of sunshine. Yeah, 14,000 watts peak power. That's a lot. $14,000 for 5 hours is a ding fun day in the solar generator days. Yeah, it is, Vanessa. Those are really fun. Two-phased perovskite carbon nanotube solar panels. Never heard of those before. I hope you have a 16 to 20 kilowatt inverter for that. Let's say if you're going to put solar panels on your house, on the roof, you can, and you will cover one side of it, which is pretty normal here. You choose the side to put the panels on where the sun is most of the time, most of the day. So if you're gonna put up panels on the roof, put them up, and if you are going to have batteries banks for it to store the electricity, you can easily get up to over 200,000 here. In my currency. So that is a lot of money. There are 400-watt panels out now. When these 280 will be swapped out. Okay. Macro inverters on the panel sections down to the main controller and meter. New type of solar panel developed at the University of Surrey in the UK. Okay. Adventures with SOG. Are they better than those who exist already? I think thunderstorm generators are the way of the future, but you have to Google what that is. Never heard of that before. The old kite and string effect. Yeah, I agree with Vanessa. How many watts are they making? If they are better than the regular ones. But I think it's time to wrap things up. So yeah, it's time for that. It's 11:30 soon here, so you'll only know what they print any old number on products these days. Over 36 megawatt per square centimeter. They claim greater efficiency, but at a cost 70% lower than existing solar panels. Yeah, indeed. I have to go up early tomorrow and get things done. As always, there were good topics to discuss. You're very welcome, Prepper for the Ages. And Prepper for the Ages, I will set up the stream for next week on your idea for topics, so I will do that. Because that is a topic I haven't done anything about before, so that is, and I never thought about it, so I will set that stream up as soon as I finish this one. And guys, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your support. And thank you for watching and joining my streams. And I will see you next Saturday evening, as usual. Same time, same channel. And have a nice day. And have a nice upcoming week. And have a nice weekend. And I will see you next week. Take care, stay safe, stay vigilant. And most important, God bless.